Greetings and welcome back, everyone, to the Angry Chicken, the podcast about Hearthstone, Heroes of Warcraft. I am Garrett Weinzerl, and with me, as always, is Willie Dills Gregory and Jocelyn Moffat. Welcome back, guys.
Yo!
Hello!
We are continuing the march ever closer to the release of the Grand Tournament.
Oh, I thought you were going to say episode 100. But yeah, that
too.
That's totally what I thought you were going for, too.
Oh, fine.
Dude.
I don't...
Wait, there's other stuff going on besides Angry Chicken 100?
That sounds made up.
Apparently. You know, guys,
Okay.
I don't think our show is more important than the game that we cover's expansion releasing. But apparently
Well,
you
that's
do.
just you. And you're selling yourself short, dude.
You know what? You know, I appreciate that, guys. Way to be team players. You're really giving it your all.
We're here for you, buddy. People in the chat are disappointed because there's no new intro. You're going to have to wait, you guys.
Yeah, we're this close, guys. You can wait 2 episodes for the big unveiling.
Although I will admit, I unveiled it to people who watched my stream a little while ago. Because
You bastard.
those are special people. They all have unicorns on their shirt, as far as I'm concerned. And so I figured I'd give those people a little sneak peek. So, sorry,
fine.
everybody else. You're still going to have to wait.
Thanks, Dills.
2 more weeks.
Thank
Yep.
you so much for
Look, it's a teaser. It's
ruining
called a teaser.
It's
it's
not
called building hype.
a teaser is like a small little snippet.
Well, but when the snippet is a snippet in a if Star Wars was 45 seconds long,
I was just about to
the
say
teaser trailer would
by
have to
your
also
logic,
be-
the Star Wars teaser should have been, "Hey guys, we showed the whole movie just to the people at Comic-Con."
Exactly. Teaser trailer, that's an hour and a half long. Yeah. But okay, so you're right. I should have teased it. I should have only played like 5 seconds right in the middle. That would have been awesome.
Chat room is right, by the way. I don't know how we haven't made an Angry Chicken unicorn shirt. We need to do that.
It needs to happen.
That said, we get people saying we need to make certain things a shirt all the damn time. So
There's got to be like 50 shirts that are supposed to happen.
wait after Halloween, folks. After Halloween, you can send in your requests for other damn things I have to design.
Yeah. For now, design wedding stuff. That's it.
Yeah. Oh. Hey, we're good. Website's up. We're getting RSVPs in.
Wow.
good.
I have to do that.
It's good.
I actually didn't receive mine, so I'm assuming it's at my old place. And my roommates are just being a-holes and haven't given it to me yet. My ex-roommate.
Well, Dills, it's
yeah,
on.
that's what we'll go with. It got lost in the
Sure.
mail.
I lost in the mail. It had to be.
Well, Dills, it's on Halloween. It's in Florida. Just let me know if you're coming.
Okay. All right. Okay.
Awesome. Sounds good. So before we get into the meat of today's show, there's a couple things I wanted to mention. First up, there's a really cool post over on our subreddit. I love this. It's a TGT time capsule. It was posted by Sue Doping. And it's basically a thread where you can go and post your predictions for the Grand Tournament so that after it releases and the meta has figured itself out, you can come back and see just how wrong you were. Or right. But
Or right,
probably
yeah.
wrong.
Right now, there's only 2 comments. We need comments in there, guys.
Yeah.
I want to come back and look at this because this is really fun. And I think there's a lot of people who came to my stream after we made predictions about GVG that were really excited to let me know that I was totally wrong about a few things. So, like Trogzor. so let's all get in there and let's I have a few predictions of my own, so I'm making a comment and I'm just crafting it right now.
Delightful. And his head is going to go out of frame until he's done typing this.
Aha! I'm back.
You sounded like Eadric the Pure, who we're going to talk about later today. His ridiculous, over-the-top, righteous paladin speaking bit.
By the way, we have a full packed show, but Hearthstone just posted some new stuff, like right now.
I know.
Really?
I was just reading
Thanks,
through that
Hearthstone.
stuff. I was like, oh, man, why couldn't you have posted
All right,
this like
hold
an
on.
hour ago?
Leave it up. Let's get through the rest of this jazz, and then we can just pile it on live to hard drive.
I'm just gonna
in
say
news.
this: Wilfred Fizzlebang's gold version is amazing.
Oh man, I'm gonna go to
Oh,
Hearthstone
yeah.
right now. But before I look at that, back to the news. If you're a patron, there is a change to the Patreon. Head on over
yes.
there, patreon.com/TAC. Check it out. Basically, we're switching to weekly as opposed to monthly. We also added some new milestones. They're not actually live on the site, so if you're wondering, hey, this looks the same. If you're a patron in the post explaining the change, all of the new milestones are there. It's just that since we switched it to weekly, if we adjusted the milestones at the exact same time, you all would have been spammed with milestone achieved for all this stuff that actually shouldn't be achieved yet. But really, the big news is, Jocelyn, Taco is going seasonal.
Yes, it is. I'm really, really excited about this. So we've met the Patreon goal that will actually allow us to do a seasonal taco. So the next one is going to be fall, and that's going to be in late September. So you guys just keep your eyes open and get in here, because it was a ton of fun last time.
Everyone, get in here.
Everyone, yes. Oh, well,
Literally,
126 of you.
Literally everyone.
This is, I mean, it's an exciting change for us because it allows us to make goals that are a little bit closer to the ones that we're at now. Whereas before, you know, if we wanted to do something cool and we were going to have to devote a bunch of time to it, we had to find some amount that made sense. And that might have been really far from the current goal. Whereas this is going to seem a lot closer. So if people are excited for that goal, it's going to take less people to actually get there. So it's really going to make the whole thing a lot more, and it's just going to be more dynamic. And I'm really looking forward to the changes we're making. So.
Yeah, I just like how transparent it is. We do one episode a week. It shows exactly how much we're getting paid per episode. I like that.
Yeah. So it's something I wish we'd have done from the beginning. And it's a little bit like painful to have to do it here after we've already started. But I think everybody should kind of see why this makes a lot of sense. And we're really excited to be able to do some more goals for you guys. And that's really like the whole thing of this is more stuff for you guys and more abilities for us to bring that stuff.
I'm excited.
I'm very excited, yes.
And then finally, we can get in the news, and you guys can shower me with random Hearthstone posts that I didn't know existed until just now. But before that, just want to remind you, 100th episode is coming up, guys. We want you to be a part of it. Email your recordings and clips to tacpodcast@gmail.com, and make sure you put TAC100 in the subject line. We're looking forward to that. If you just want to tweet us something, hashtag TAC100. Fun stuff.
Absolutely.
Now, let's get directly into this week's Hearthstone news.
Good news, everyone!
So we were going to lead with TGT Brawl is this Wednesday. So I guess we're going to lead with it anyway. Because I get to talk, I guess, first. I don't know. I was trying to think of a reason why this was the case. But yeah.
Well, we found this out today, too.
We
right?
did.
This is today's news as well.
So the grand tournament is coming to Tavern Brawl this Wednesday. It looks like we are going to be wielding an Inspire deck, playing as the Mage Medivh. I got it right on the first try, guys.
Very well done.
Or we will be jousting our way to victory with the Hunter Illyria. So you will randomly be assigned either a Inspire Mage deck or a Joust Hunter deck. I'm kind of stoked.
I mean, this is cool. It's definitely very cool. I'm assuming that the Hunter deck is essentially going to be like a control-y deck, because if we're talking about a Joust deck, it's got to have some higher cost cards. There's actually two, and if you look at some of the TGT cards, which we'll talk about later, some really good control options for Hunter. And Hunter already had some great finishers. They just didn't have the ability to kind of bridge to the late game, and that they now will have. So I'm excited to see what they've kind of built for us. The Inspire Mage deck, I think, is a lot of people have already assumed Mage is going to be one of the decks that will utilize the Inspire mechanic. So we'll kind of get a sense of what Blizzard's kind of aiming for us to go for with some of these new mechanics and some of these new ideas. And it is exciting. I will say I'm a little disappointed that this might mean we're not getting the arena free-for-all that we had with GVG, which was so fun, and yeah. I was kind of hoping we were going to see.
I mean, they haven't said that that's not coming, but I'm in the same boat as you. I'm very concerned that's the case, because that was my favorite thing about the Goblins vs. Gnomes release. We didn't see it coming. It was the closest thing we have had to a pre-release tournament, which is something you see all the time in Magic, and I love it. It's my favorite thing in Magic is, the week before the expansion comes out, let's go over at midnight to the local comic shop and see all the new cards and play it in the limited format, because we don't know what these are. Who gives a crap? Let's have a good time. Yeah. And that's exactly what the arena thing was for Goblins vs. Gnomes. So I'm really hoping that comes too. But
it's possible it does. I mean, they haven't said it's not. So
I'm also really excited to see Brawl used in this way, though, because if you've ever, if you guys went to BlizzCon last year and you saw Goblins vs. Gnomes announced, if you went to go play it on the floor, there were only a couple decks you could choose from, and they were pre-made decks. So now we get to basically get our BlizzCon demo just directly in our home whenever Blizzard sees fit. They can just warp Brawl to their whim to do this for them, and I like that. I just hope I also get the arena event because that was dope as hell.
Exactly. So you're on my wavelength.
Oh, absolutely. More arena, man. And it was also, like, for me, it was really cool to see so many people so excited about arena, even if it was just for like 1 week.
Yeah, well, and that will happen kind of naturally anyway. With a new set, you get more arena players because people are trying to earn the cards, right? This time, I feel like we might see a little bit less of that and more people just buying the packs because of an upcoming change in how arena rewards will be given, which we'll talk about in a second too. But generally, towards the end of an expansion, when it's getting a little long in the tooth, that's when arena gets really difficult because the only people playing arena are people who just like arena, and that's where they play. And usually right around the beginning of a new bunch of cards, people who are pretty good at adapting and figuring out how the new cards work and figuring out how to kind of assess which cards are better than others are going to do really well in arena because there's going to be a lot of people in there just kind of trying to earn cards as best they can, which we may or may not get this time. But either way, I softened my stance on Brawl even more based on this Brawl because, like you said, Garrett, this allows Blizzard to do this type of like what we got at BlizzCon, what people got at Gamescom. This kind of thing can now exist just in the client for everybody. Yep. So they can bring that to everybody this time. So it's awesome. It's really great.
It's dope.
I think I prefer the idea of Brawl to Arena only because the card pool has gotten so big now. Like with GVG, that was like the first real big kind of release. You knew if you were going into the GVG Arena, you had a really good chance of playing with those new cards. This time you've got all the original, all the GVG, the 2 adventures, plus then the tournament on top. And there's like a whole lot less of kind of and just push to get you into arena and spend that gold because you may or may not actually get the tournament cards. There's a much smaller chance now. So I think letting everybody play with tournament cards in Brawl is probably a better way to introduce people to the set, especially where we have kind of 2 new mechanics that go against each other so well. You know, like one Inspire deck, one Joust deck. Everyone gets a chance to play. Everyone gets a chance to learn. And brawling is free. You don't have to pay, because I know that was a complaint with GVG. People were saying, oh, everyone's dumping all their gold right before the expansion. Instead of getting packs, they're going in and playing arena. This way, everyone gets to experience Brawl, gets both of the effects with pre-made Blizzard decks, and it's all free. So I think this is actually a really good way to introduce the new expansion.
I think you're absolutely correct that the money or the gold thing is an issue, and this doesn't require anyone to drop any gold, which they might be trying to save specifically for TGT packs. So that's another really important thing. And like you said, the chance of the cards being TGT cards is much lower with this amount of cards. So it's like you're going to pick, like with GVG, you're going to pick whatever the new card is, whether it's the best card of the 3 or not. So, you know, give it to us this way, skip like the whole like whatever. But I think that it's just really fun to have that kind of free-for-all arena experience. And so I think doing both would be a great way to do this because it allows people who maybe don't have the extra gold to spend to still get a chance to play around with the new cards, right?
Do you think we might maybe see this happen on Friday? Because with GVG, wasn't it just a weekend thing? Like it wasn't a full week ahead.
It happened right before. It's true. Yeah.
It was only a few
and nobody
days.
knew,
and they
I was
sprung
like,
it on us. Yeah.
I was hanging out. I was like doing other stuff, and I was like, "Well, forget my other plans. Now I'm just pulling my iPad out
just
and
arena.
this."
We were all texting each other like, "Is this for real?" And I don't even remember which one of us got in, but I remember us all being like, "Oh my god, we need to get an arena now."
GVG is happening.
I suddenly knew what I was doing all night, and I stayed up like way too late that first night playing arena.
It was so much fun. I'm gonna do one of our famous suggest something that's probably a lot harder to implement into the game than we actually think. That should be a really long hashtag.
We need a bumper for that or something.
Yeah.
When an expansion comes out and they do the arena event, they should just make it a lot more likely that you get the cards from the expansion.
Or dump like a certain amount of cards that nobody really plays or something like that, and just give us like a specific set of arena cards.
Hell,
So
make it an I don't care. Make it an all TGT draft. All you
Sure.
see is TGT
Hell
cards.
yes.
I am all for that. Bring it on.
I'm doing a Magic draft. I think it's tomorrow, but it's a cube, right? So like if people aren't familiar with what that means, it basically means that rather than opening like a whole bunch of random packs, essentially the guys who are putting the event on have pre-selected a group of cards that they think kind of work together well, and then we draft from within just that specific set of cards. So it's not totally random. It's random within that set, but it's a set that they built, right? That they think is really good for, this. And you could totally make a cube, an arena cube.
Yeah.
And we just draft from that,
So let's before we move on to the next point, which isn't honestly not that surprising for anyone if you keep up with Hearthstone. What is in this Hearthstone post that's making everyone lose their mind, other than the fact that these legendary goldens look totally sweet?
Oh, the new stuff. So there's a new daily quest.
Yeah, there's a Tavern Brawl, 5 wins gives you 60 gold.
Oh, so it's a daily quest that is specific to Tavern Brawl.
Yes.
Yeah.
That makes sense. I mean,
yeah, that's great actually, because that would get me to play Tavern Brawl. I guess there will be times when this sucks because I hate the Tavern Brawl, but it would already suck if you got a class you didn't like or whatever. So
Yeah.
And I think are they just upping the rewards on these other ones? Is that what's going on, or is it?
Well,
no,
it's
it's
like
an additional level.
Yeah, there's specifically there's a quest for each class that's just win 3 games with that class. So right now, all the quests usually have a choice between classes, but this is strictly like priest victory, paladin victory.
But they're also currently 2 wins or 5 wins. So this is a
So
mid-level.
And the
3,
2 wins yield you 40 gold. The 5 wins yield you 60 gold. So now these class-specific ones where you have to win 3 games with one specific class, you don't have an option, gives you 50. So it's in between the other 2 that exist.
Yeah.
Sure. But if you hate the class, you can dump the quest.
Yeah, you can dump a quest a day. I mean, it's not the total end of the world here, and hopefully, come TGT, some of the lesser popular class like priests won't really be that. You won't just go, oh my god, I have to play priest anymore.
Yeah. Well, so I usually do my quest just in arena because unless I have, like today my quest was rogue. Well, no, it was paladin something. I don't know, whatever.
Usually
but I was like,
paladin
I don't want to do
priest, I
that.
think.
Paladin priest, yeah. So I clicked that off, and I got rogue warrior, and I was like, okay, well, patron, cool. So I already have a really good patron deck, and I'll play that. But if it's like something like priest or something kind of like shaman, then I'll just do an arena, and eventually I'll get that.
So Dark Angel in the chat room makes a really good point. What if can you get this quest during one of the 2 days that Brawl is closed?
I would hope that they don't. Like they have something in place to not offer it during those 2 days. I hope.
Yeah, that would really suck.
That would totally suck, because especially if you're someone who relies on the quest to earn, gold for packs and stuff. You're a free-to-play player, like maybe one Kyle Ferguson, for example. That would suck if you got this quest. You're like, well, never mind. I'll see you in 2 days.
Yeah.
It also looks like there's some references to potential co-op. Test abilities, talking about saying both of you and you've defeated the boss together and all that kind of cool stuff. So maybe we will be seeing some sort of a raid type thing with 2 players taking on 1 boss, which would be pretty cool.
Yeah. I mean, we've also seen the glue_tournament screen for months now, and no sign of tournament mode. So take away.
But this is like, how can you interpret this any other way? Damaging all other. Both of you defeated the boss together.
Yeah.
There's no other way to interpret this, right? So maybe what this is the next adventure allows you to go like 2 on 1 boss or something like that.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
I would be down with that, by the way. That'd be super fun.
I would love that, yeah.
That would be really cool.
Oh, that'd be so much fun for streaming.
Yeah.
And it all
so
says,
the thing is, double-headed dragon, or what do they call it in Magic?
Two-headed
Giant.
Is kind of a tough thing to wrap your head around sometimes. But 2 on 1, that's like, we can just chuck this in and people will get this, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
F that, man. I want 2 versus 2.
HRW, so voiceover HRW test. So maybe if our next adventure is there HRW? Does that ring any bells to you Raider people?
Nope.
HRW. No.
No,
No?
not at all.
No.
Maybe that's just the next adventure. I'm sure that someone would have posted that if that was some sort of a raidy thing.
Yeah. Looks like there's
Yeah.
also reference to a crafting event. According to Hearthstone, all the Grand Tournament cards have a crafting event flag on them with the value normal sale. We believe this means the cards will show up in the collection manager when the patch goes live, but will not be craftable until the official release. All other cards have their crafting event set to always. That's interesting.
Huh.
So essentially, this just means they're putting the cards. Oh, okay.
So you can like
So you'll
look
be
at
able
them.
to see them before you
This
can make
might
them?
just be a coding change just to allow them to put cards in that we can't actually
Yeah, they're
use yet.
Yeah.
I think this is a behind-the-scenes type of thing. I don't think this actually means anything to us.
And I'm curious if this happened last time with GVG and we just didn't notice it, because if you guys remember, web spinners started showing up.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I think this is probably just a code change to make the game a little more stable and when they're releasing new stuff. That's at least what it looks like. Maybe somebody has a better interpretation of this. I'm sure I'll go to Reddit and some, crazy coder guy will have it all figured out. But just looking at it from my perspective, that's what it kind of looks like. Like we can put these cards into brawls. We can put these cards out into like arena. They exist in the game. They're not craftable. They're not part of when you click the crafting button. You don't see them there.
Yeah. Well, cool. Everyone just go check out Hearthstone. There's some more stuff in there, but that's the big stuff.
Tavern Brawl backgrounds.
Oh my God. Yeah. Let's describe something that's purely visual to a primarily audio only audience.
Corehound versus like a little corgi.
It's the molten corgi.
We've got some sort of snake thing going on here. We've got definitely a joust brawl.
Yeah.
And then some sort of a blizzard, or what is it? It's raining mana. It's raining mana.
It's
Yeah.
raining mana.
It's raining
Hallelujah.
mana.
It's raining mana.
Hallelujah. It's raining mana.
Wow. And you didn't want to talk about it.
It's awesome.
Everyone,
That's awesome.
when we get to the end of the show today and we're like, oh my God, we're running out of time, I want everyone to remember the time when Garrett tried to move the show along gracefully.
And then we all sang Raining Man.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then Garrett gave up and just joined in the fun.
Yep.
I'm fun, damn it. I promise.
So apparently someone wants us to, that's the show title. Raining Man.
It's a raining mana.
Oh boy. Here
That's-
comes the cover song. The Hearthstone.
Maybe
Raining
we'll-
Man
maybe
cover
we'll
song.
finally
Raining
get-
Man.
Someone get trolling on that.
Maybe we'll finally get clips of you and I sent to the email dills instead of just Jocelyn yelling about unicorns.
Like I said, I never say anything dumb. There's just nothing that people can ever find
Nope.
that's going to be funny or interesting or weird. Nope.
I'm
I
sorry,
just
someone sent.
perfectly place my
We actually did get a
words.
Dills clip.
We
in the
did.
Oh,
Email.
man. Oh. Well, that's yeah.
It's just Dills being excited for science
Science.
and
I
peeking
love
out.
science. That's all, I say.
In other news this week, as I'm sure you are all aware, all of the Grand Tournament cards have been revealed. They're all up officially on the Hearthstone Facebook, or I'm sure you could just throw a dart at your fan site of choice, and they're also there. Still no release date has been announced, guys. Are they just
But I
gonna?
think
Probably
we
next-
all know it's the 24th.
Are we just gonna wake up on the 24th and we're just gonna be like, surprise, here it is, enjoy?
Well, the
Yep.
brawl ends on the 23rd, right? Or the 22nd. It says the brawl ends on the 23rd, right? I'm pretty sure that's what it said.
I think so.
That's the
No,
brawl
I
date.
agree.
So that's the very next day.
I
The 24th. So it's all.
Well, that's the Monday, so it might be the Tuesday, the 25th.
That seems weird to me.
what? That's maintenance day. That makes the
That
most
is
sense
I
in
know,
the
but it's-
land
Although
of
it
Blizzard.
looks
Yeah, okay.
like, because there's huge downtime tomorrow, right? It's going down for like 8 or 10 hours or something like that. So
But
You
that's
would
probably to
think
put
that
in
they
all
would-
this stuff.
yeah,
You
they
know?
would put in everything this week, and then they can just flip the on switch.
Like that's all this
That's how
stuff
these
is
things work,
just-
right?
Yeah.
There's
It's all
some
this
big,
data
huge,
mine stuff
like-
is getting put in. And then the 24th is when like it gets released because now they have the ability to put the cards. Yeah, that's.
Yeah.
I'm going out on a limb here, boys and girls. 24th. I'm not going out on a limb at all. I'm like literally saying something that's there's a lot of evidence to support.
I find the lack of giving a release date just downright odd. I don't get it, especially if you're having a pre-sale. I would think if you gave a date, it would urge people to get in on the pre-sale before the date comes.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I don't know.
Might as well just give us a date.
I think it helps build hype. All the cards have been revealed. Just tell us, hey, it'll be this date. But whatever. It's going to get here by the end of the month. We're very close to the end of the month. I can wait. Just a little odd. Odd.
15 days left in the season. And the problem for me right now is I'm rank 6. And I feel like I'm supposed to now go for Legend, which means the rest of my month is probably shot.
Yeah, well...
That was stupid of me to get all pumped
time.
up about that conversation with Yang Wu and just like go on a tear on the ladder. But whatever.
It's good though because the meta is just going to be all over the freaking place, so it's probably a good.
No, that's the worst.
It's good.
It's going to be insane.
Be solid and just push, and everyone else will be experimenting and whatever, and you could just be like, "Ha! Dills to Legend gone."
And then I play Patron, but then Patron suddenly sucks because everyone's figured it out. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know about all that. I think like the worst time to I would love a stable meta where I know, when
where's your sense of adventure?
I got none. I hate adventure. Screw adventure. Nax, Black Rock Mountain. Nah, hate
Terrible.
Hated them.
All about the expansions. Yeah, there's things I like about both. There's things I like the 5-week period of an adventure where shit gets weird week after week for 5 weeks. I like that a lot. That. But I also come from Magic. So give me a lot of new cards at once. I will throw them on the ground. I will take my shirt off and I will roll around in them. Thank you.
Wow. All right.
Yeah. Enjoy that little image in your head, everyone. Dills is getting weird. I want to get weird too. Last bit of news before we dive into a bunch of cards. Apparently, folks have been telling me this has been known for a week or two. We didn't mention it last week, so I'm going to mention it now. Arena rewards are getting shaken up after the Grand Tournament releases.
Yes,
I saw it today in a tweet from CM Worthen. But he mentioned that after TGT releases that we will randomly be awarded GVG or TGT card packs from Arena. So you'll have a chance of getting one or the other. And I'm assuming...
and classic packs, too, I think. I think it's all 3.
His tweet doesn't mention classic. Oh, no, it does. Okay.
My understanding was any of the current packs you have a chance. Just have and so if you get 2, if you get 12 wins, you could get one of 2 different sets. Like you could get, a classic and a TGT or something like that. Yeah. Okay, so whatever. That's what a lot of people seem to be complaining about. I was fine with it before. I'm fine with it like this. So here's the deal. This is fantastic for free-to-play players. This is great because if you're trying to earn cards, it sucks when you can only earn GVG through Arena. So you have to buy classic packs with gold. You have to buy TGT packs with gold. Whatever. The way it was kind of funky, right? And I have this free-to-play EU account. And I have so many GVG cards because all I ever do on that account is play Arena. But every time I wanted, I don't have Ragnaros. I don't have Alex Straza. I have to earn 1,600 dust to craft it. I have no chance to open that out of a pack. So, I have Dr. Boom. I have Trogzor. I have all these, and essentially out of GVG, really Dr. Boom was the only one I really cared about getting, right? So I had all these crappy ones I didn't really care about, and I just knew I had to slowly grind the dust to earn the other stuff. So for my free-to-play account, it's amazing. For my NA account, where I've got all the cards, it doesn't matter. So I don't understand why people really care. If you have all the cards, just whatever. If you don't, then it's awesome. So I'm kind of all for it. I don't know. Maybe there's another argument that I'm not seeing. Jocelyn, you usually have the other argument that I'm not seeing. What is it?
Well, in general, I mean, just the randomness. Everyone was complaining at first that you only got GVG cards. And so having, there's a little bit of a discussion going on about whether TGT has a little bit of power creep going on. So there could be the argument.
So small, though.
I know. And I think we're going to see how it all shakes out with the whole meta thing after the actual release happens. So, I mean, there is a little tiny, if you think there is power creep, argument that TGT cards will be better than GVG and better than Classic. So you want the new expansion to be your arena reward. But I do agree for the free-to-play player, then having it be random is probably better. That's a whole hell of a lot of luck, though, if you're trying to get, like, Rag. And so, first of all, you have to get the, 1/3 chance at your Classic pack. Then when you open your Classic pack, you have to hope that you get Rag. So, I mean...
But at least you have a chance.
But at least you have a chance, yeah. And we all know that chance is 50-50, right? So
yeah, getting legendaries at all is a small percentage,
Yeah.
right? So it's just the fact is, like, you can only get legendaries from this one set was kind of the thing that... Because, the other stuff is very craftable. The legendaries are the ones that are really difficult to craft, that, like, really take some time to build up 1,600 dust and then craft that specific card. When you're talking about like 400 dust or 100 dust or something like that's something I can kind of do on the way if I'm just missing a specific card from a specific deck. But when I needed Dr. Boom, and now, like, okay, or Dr. Boom is a bad example because it was GVG, but if I needed Alex Straza and I was like, I can't play Freeze Mage without this card, my only option was to craft it, right? I think the argument that I have seen where I'm like, yeah, I could see that, is where people say, let me decide which packs I get, and give us tokens for the arena rewards, and then the tokens buy a pack or something. And I can see that being a good way to handle this. But,
yeah, and I'm not quite sure why they didn't do that. And because there's also the argument that if you're kind of looking for dust, the smaller kind of expansions are better for that because you get more duplicates, so you'll be able to disenchant more things and craft specifically the things that you want. Because if you're always getting random things from random sets that you don't really, it just becomes harder, because the chances of you getting exactly the cards that you're looking for to craft whatever constructed deck you're trying to build, it gets so much harder when everything is random. If you can choose, or if you're just getting the same set over and over and over and over, then you get more duplicates, you can disenchant more, and it's just kind of a little bit better, I think, than... Because Classic is it's so big.
Okay, I'm going to blow both your minds.
do it.
So just sit back and hold on to your hair.
Okay.
You guys are completely ignoring the existence of free-to-play players that have been playing since day one. And free-to-play players that have been playing since day one would probably prefer the most recent damn pack.
Yes.
You were lumping all free-to-play players under the same umbrella. So my endpoint, endpoint is, holy crap, guys, there's a lot of different people who play this game in a lot of different ways, and there's not going to be a perfect thing that's going to make everybody happy. Garrett out.
Well,
you're absolutely right.
I think the token
thing would work, right?
Yeah, it would work.
That would fix everyone's problems.
Yeah.
I select the set I don't have enough of, and boom. Easy.
Somebody out there. Mark my words.
Somebody just mentioned,
somebody
by
would,
the way.
sorry,
go
somebody
ahead.
out there would complain they don't want to click the extra buttons.
Yeah, all right. That guy, forget that guy.
Probably would be
Somebody asked us to very quickly define what power creep is. I don't think we want to talk about this in depth because we want to get to this later. But we should at least mention what this means, because this has been a thing where people go, what does this stuff mean?
Can we explain it in the cards we're about to talk about, because one of them is really the only black and white example of it?
Well, I'll just say power creep is just cards getting more powerful to the point that older cards are unplayable because a new card is just simply better. Yeah. That's what power creep means.
So
that's the simplest form of it.
There you go. In the case of Hearthstone, these two cards being compared would probably cost the same amount of mana, and one would just be objectively better than the other.
And there's a specific card we will talk about later where we'll bring this back up, and it will make it very clear.
Yep. So before we get into that, let's thank some of the fine folks who help the show happen every week. I want to thank some of our patrons over at patreon.com/TAC. Thank you this week to Danny K, Troy M, Travis, Jason E, and Julian S. No one had a funny name this week. Everyone went normal with their probably real names. But nonetheless, thank you all so much for supporting the Angry Chicken. I look forward to hopefully silly names next week. Now it's going to be a challenge. And I just want everyone to know we're pretty backed up on thanking people right now. So it's going to be a while till we get to the barrage of silly names. Wait for it.
Make your silly names now. Just know it'll be a few episodes before we get to them.
Can I give a shout out to one I saw last week that just made me laugh?
Please do.
Absolutely.
Bob T. Skull. went and backed us, and I'm a big Dresden Files fan, so that made me laugh my ass off. So thank you.
nice.
Thank you, Bob the Skull.
Very nice.
I really appreciate it. Now, let's talk some TGT cards.
Hit it very hard.
Wanna blow something up? Time to pay!
So, if you were listening during our news segment, you would know that all of the TGT cards have been revealed. And if you have listened to this show regularly, or just last week, you would realize that we are incapable of quickly moving through a lot of frickin' cards. That's a technical term, by the way, coined for the Angry Chicken. So, what we have done is we have curated cards we'd really like to talk about, and we've left out a bunch of them. And it's okay, because the expansion's going to come out. Deck's going to be made. They're going to have new cards in it.
Yeah.
We are naturally
We'll end up talking about
going
it.
to
It's gonna
discuss
happen.
the cards. So
Let
everyone,
me show you guys real quick what it would be like if we did burn through these cards.
go do it.
We'd be
please.
like, all right, well, we've got ourselves Astral Communion, epic spell, 4 mana, gain 10 mana crystals. Okay, we've got ourselves Aviana. Like, this would suck. This wouldn't be interesting.
no. So
That's not what anyone wants to hear. They want to hear us converse, talk about these cards, all give different opinions, and sometimes one of us has an idea the others hadn't thought of, and then you go, "Oh, that's correct," or you go, "That's totally wrong. I'm gonna make a Reddit thread. Garrett, you're wrong. This card is way better than you think it is." That's what people want.
hey,
That's what we're gonna give you guys.
Hey, that actually happened, so that could be misconstrued as
It happens all the time.
sir.
Yeah.
And that one guy, no, you're wrong. I'm sorry. The card's not that exciting. You're
It's really good. No, he's right, but kind of wrong, but good. Okay, never mind. Moving on.
You mean people have different opinions about things? Dills?
He was right, but he was wrong with the reasons why he thought he was right.
Yeah.
Big.
So we're gonna kick it off with Druid, and we wanted to talk about Astral Communion. I keep thinking this is communication, but it's communion.
I know,
Yeah.
you wrote it wrong in the notes last week and it made me laugh.
You're darn right I did. It is an epic Druid spell. It costs 4 mana, and it reads gain 10 mana crystals, discard your hand. What?
Yeah.
I saw this card, and my brain exploded.
This is a really crazy card, and people are going to try so hard to make this work, and it's always going to be a gimmick, right?
Yeah,
This is always
I-
going to be a gimmick.
I don't know how you can depend on this.
You can't.
Well, you can't.
You know
That's-
why
yeah.
you don't know why or how? Because you,
would have
can't.
you would have to mulligan for this every single time, the
Yep.
same way Druids already mulligan for Wild Growth and or Innervate. And you only have 2 chances to pull it. You have to play it turn 4. You have to hope that all of your amazing good finisher cards aren't in your hand when you do it. No.
And then you have to have a whole bunch of big, crazy cost stuff that
Yeah.
then you draw into one
And
after
I was
another.
then you have to
as
have
the game
crazy
goes on.
card draw to make it all back up again.
Yeah, that's the thing. So, like, where my brain went, I was like, well, okay, to make this work, in theory, you would have enough low drops that you had a decent chance of drawing them, so that you could play something on 1, 2, and 3. Or you just innovate into this on 2.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
It
Point
hurts.
Then
Innervate
you
turn
play-
1. There you
It
go.
hurts
If
my
you
brain.
play this on turn 4 and you actually have 1 drops in your hand, and then the very next turn you draw a 1 drop, no.
Yeah,
Oh,
no,
it
and that's
sucks so
that's part of the reason, and that's where my brain went first, and then I started thinking about how bad it is. This card is horrifying because this is a card game, and in card games you shuffle your cards and you don't know
Yeah.
you're going to draw.
Yeah.
And
Okay, you
you're
can't
constantly
even
top
play.
decking. Like,
Yeah.
does Druid even have there's your Ancients that'll give you 2 cards,
Ancients
but
of
like,
Lore is amazing.
yeah,
Well, Nourish. You definitely run Nourish in this deck.
I guess, yeah.
You would run all the things that draw you a bunch of cards. So you would run
Yeah.
stuff like Nourish. You'd run Ancient of Lore. You might even run like a Jeeves or something where it's like, I
Yeah,
draw
when it-
3 cards at
Oh.
the end of my turn. But then here's the thing: you would also not run Wild Growth because you can't run both of these type of.
No.
You can't run Wild Growth and then also this because Wild Growth basically goes away as soon as you play this anyway. You got
Yeah.
to 10 mana. It didn't matter that you got 2 mana earlier.
You
You
Wild
hope-
Growth to get to turn 4 earlier.
To
So
do
you
this
gotta
one turn earlier. The dream is to innervate coin this on turn
Yeah.
1. And then
Yeah.
and then just draw nothing
then-
but giant crazy crap for the rest of the game.
Yeah,
Yeah.
That's the
but
dream.
But we don't live in that world, Dills, where that happens enough to have a good win rate. No, it's super cool card. It just seems horrendously inconsistent. But I can't wait. I cannot wait to fail trying with this thing.
Yeah,
I'm gonna have
no,
that.
I mean, I'm gonna go for it. I'm gonna do some weird stuff with this because it is true. Like if you have Loot Hoarder or like Acolyte of Pain or something on board that draws a card, when this is played, you can get because you get the 10 mana. You get full 10 mana crystals. It's not like Wild Growth where it's an empty mana crystal. You now have 10 mana. So if you can then suicide your Loot Hoarder and then draw Deathwing, you can play Deathwing right then and there, right? So that's cool. But again, this is so inconsistent and so crazy, but it's awesome that it exists. And of course, it's an epic card because epic cards are always the weird, crazy crap. That's like
so far,
what
every single one we have talked about is just out of this world bonkers.
Off the wall, yeah.
yeah. So,
but super fun card,
super cool card. Let's talk about the Druid's legendary minion, Aviana. She costs 9 mana. She's a 5/5. And she reads, your minions cost 1. Which I would be so effing excited about if this wasn't on turn 9.
Yeah, but
I think it kind of has to be because you can
this would be
basically.
open as hell.
It would
Yeah.
be if it was any cheaper, it would just be insane because I mean, Druids also have Innervate, so you could basically, if you can get her out turn 9, then. Or sorry, on turn 10, you still get to play one more minion. It could be anything. It could be Cenarius. It could be like, I don't even know.
It could be that one
epic.
that one keeper that's still sitting there, and you're really not excited about it, and you don't have nothing good happens because you played a really greedy card.
That's true, but with Innervate, you could potentially get 3 more minions out there on turn 10. Like it just,
or on turn 9, you Innervate and get 2 more right away.
Or
like you turn 9, you play Aviana, then you Innervate, and then you play, Cenarius and Ragnaros, and you've got quite a board.
Exactly. We should mention though, this will make your wisps cost 1, guys. So be careful playing this with your wisps.
Don't play your wisp deck, your wisp druid deck with Aviana. Now, okay, but Emperor makes cards like this like possible to me.
Right, which is very, very true. And actually, that could be its own show topic because I was looking at a lot of these cards today, and there are a lot of 9 mana cards, and I'm wondering how the hell we're going to get to play any of them. And then my brain clicked on, Emperor Thaurissan exists, I'm wondering how much of how these cards were designed were influenced by the existence of Thaurissan.
Mm-hmm. And the fact is, this card has to be this expensive because its power is insane. If you built a deck that has a bunch of really high cost stuff, so essentially it's like Ramp Druid, right? So you're playing, Ancients of Lore for 1 mana. You're playing Ancients of War for 1 mana. You're playing you're playing Kel'Thuzad for 1 mana. You're playing whatever the hell, Dr. Boom, 1 mana. This has to be, first of all, low enough health to kill it with some removal. And by the way, 5/5 is actually, there's a lot of removal that doesn't get there. So it's actually still kind of in that range where it's tough. It's going to take something like a Fireball, a Starfall, something like that. Like it's not, a Swipe doesn't kill it, a Wrath doesn't kill it, a Fire or a Frostbolt doesn't kill it. There's a lot of stuff that doesn't kill it, right? So, Eviscerate doesn't kill it. Like it's in that range where it's actually going to be a little bit tough to deal with, and you have to deal with it. So,
and Astral Communion turn 4, Aviana right away.
Oh yeah, top deck Aviana. Yeah, but then you can't play anything else though because your hand is empty.
True.
Almost.
I mean, a lot of the big minions you were discussing though, all of that is depending on the fact that you get Emperor Thaurissan, you get one of his triggers off with Aviana in your hand, and you have an Innervate. If that doesn't happen, this means that you're playing cards that you probably would have played already after the fact that they would have been most impactful. You're talking about post turn 9 Dr. Boom and other large minions.
Yeah, so I'm not arguing that this card is really good. What I'm arguing is this card is like correct for what it does. Like it's 9 mana cost and its 5/5 body, I think is balanced because this card would be really unbalanced if any of this was tweaked. So I don't think it's good. I think it's just it's fine.
It's
it's where it's supposed to be.
I'm super trepidatious of this card, and that's so I didn't.
I think it leans on the bad side, but I think a deck that plays for this card is sometimes just going to win the game because of this card, right? But I still think you're correct, Gary. I would lean this card on the bad side.
Okay.
Like a deck that runs this is probably not going to be as good as just your standard combo Druid.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
a combo Druid will probably have a higher win rate than the Aviana Druid.
I guess.
But I want her to work so
But
badly.
they won't have as much fun.
Yeah,
You know what
exactly.
I mean? Yeah.
This is a flavor kind of a card. Yeah.
Yeah. Is it more fun to play Aviana and Ragnaros, or is it more fun to play a Shade and then never like unstealth it
Never
for a
do
bunch of
anything,
turns,
yeah.
and then kill you with a combo?
There will be
Yeah.
that game where you play this on turn 9 and you don't care because you had 2 innervates and you had a bunch of big threats in your hand and you're just like,
That's gonna happen.
That's
Just
I-
go
so
pow,
sweet.
pow, 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 pow.
I feel like a hand lock that drew the giant's late. Eat it.
And then the
Eat
control
it.
warrior goes brawl.
Yep, exactly,
Oh.
exactly.
Peace out.
feels bad, man.
Yep, or the paladin goes enter the Colosseum, which we'll talk about
Yeah.
later.
Oh yeah.
We'll talk about
exactly.
later. Yeah.
They have brawl now too.
Yeah, coming in with the TGT references of cards we haven't even discussed yet. What?
It's like they already exist, man.
Well, let's talk about some Hunter cards.
Sure.
That'll do it for this week on Druid. So Hunter is clearly horrendously imbalanced, guys. They are getting 2 legendaries where everyone else is getting 1. If you
Those bastards.
rated TOC, which I know all of us did. Well, actually, Jocelyn, I don't think you did. Did you? You didn't raid TOC because you didn't start playing until after Wrath, right?
Right.
Correct. Okay. But I know Dills and I did.
Yep.
You remember the 2 Jormungar, which I'm sure
This
I'm
was
not.
kind of a piece of crap fight for when you were learning it, and
Yeah.
then a super easy fight once you had it down.
Once you had it down, yeah, it was just.
Yeah. So these are giant worms where one of them burrowed under the ground and the other one was up, and you fought that one. And then that one burrowed under, and then this one popped back up, and they both did 2 different things. And they actually fit their lore pretty well. And this is kind of I really like the flavor of these 2 cards, and the fact that they made 1/3 and 1/7, you can play them on the same turn.
On 10.
Guess what? They actually do stuff with each other. They
Yeah.
work together.
Yeah, no, the great flavor to these cards. I'm not sure how much I like them, but there's some really cool flavor, and I really think they fit the rating counter that they were brought from. Now, the first up is Dreadscale. Dreadscale is a 3 mana 4/2 beast and reads at the end of your turn, deal 1 damage to all other minions. This includes your own. Dreadscale's
This
counter.
is just a good card, though, right?
Yes.
I mean, this is a good
Yes.
card.
It's 4/2 for 3. It's a beast, and it does 1 damage to everything but itself at the end of your turn.
Yeah, you play a 4/2 for 3, and then you Arcane Explosion the board. Like it's whirlwind the board, I guess I should say. But
Except for
Yeah.
itself.
that's
Except
fine.
itself, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's totally fine.
I like
Yeah.
Dreadscale a lot,
That's going to have use on its own without Acid Maw.
which is good.
People will play this card, and it's a beast.
Yeah.
We should mention as well.
Yeah, which is good because Acid Maw is interesting. Acid Maw is a 7 mana 4/2 beast, and it reads whenever another minion takes damage, destroy it.
Yep.
So a cool effect, and I could see this. I immediately went to, I'll combo with Unleash the Hounds and just kill whatever
like
I
it.
want.
Yeah. Or combo with that other new Hunter card, the mini explosive shot. What is it called? Power shot.
Power shot, yeah.
deals 2 damage to 3 minions.
3 minions,
Yep.
yeah.
And it costs 3 mana. So you could also use that as well. And we're kind of seeing that we're getting some sort of a control hunter, and I think that would also be a combo. You'd have Unleash Acid Maw, you'd have Power Shot Acid Maw, you'd have Dreadscale Acid Maw, you'd have a lot of ways to clear the board.
Right.
I feel like this is costed just specifically because of all the things it could combo with, like because
Yeah.
again, it's one of those cards that if you made it any cheaper, it would just be ridiculous. Like it's like
Sure.
my Exna, but you don't actually have to attack with it. Like it has that kind of like poison destroy effect without having to actually do the damage with that specific minion. So
Yeah.
yeah,
You can use
had to
anything
be-
to do the damage.
Yeah.
Exactly. So yeah, this had to be expensive.
And I think this is what they're going for. They're saying this is a hard combo to pull off, but it's going to be powerful when you do. I think people will. Okay, so imagine that you've got 3 different ways to essentially like clear the opponent's board anytime you want. That's pretty good. If you think about what Paladin has, they have Equality Consecrate, right? And that's a really, really powerful combination. So the fact that you could potentially stack your deck with 3 different ways to pull this off, that's really not that bad. And especially if you have a lot of like really awesome, powerful finishers, you can utilize this to kind of bridge into that. You'll already kind of be in the late game when this happens, but you're going to destroy other control decks, I think, with this kind of setup.
It's interesting, too, though. If you actually use Asimov and Dreadscale together, because Dreadscale deals 1 damage to all other minions, you're kind of hoping that you don't have other minions on board. Whereas if you just play Asimov by itself, and it's giving that, basically that effect, which is, any other minion takes damage destroyed, you're kind of hoping that you do have minions on board, so you can take advantage of its effect.
If you play it together, essentially, unless there's like Death Rattle minions on board, you end with Dreadscale as a 4/2 and Asimov as a 4/1, and everything else is dead. That's kind of how it works out. But again, like I think this only works in a very specific hunter deck. However, I do think Dreadscale will work by itself without Acid Maw, whereas I don't think Asimov necessarily works on its own as well. So one of them is good, one of them's
Yeah. And again, like we're getting into this like, oh, it's a 10 mana combo and everything else it combos really well with. Hounds, Power Shot, everything is 3 mana. So all of these combos are 10 mana. But then Thaurissan comes into play and all of a sudden, you get 1 or 2 ticks off of him and now you're down into a quality Consecrate range and, you can clear the board so much sooner. So yeah, the whole Thaurissan with all of this, and especially since you have so many different activators of Acid Maw, it's just the chances of you having Acid Maw and a combo piece in your hand are so much higher than, say, like the Druid combo even, which some people run 2 copies of. That's 4 cards. This could potentially be 7 cards. And people run Unleash the Hounds anyway. So,
I mean, there's a big difference there, though. The Druid combo wins you the game. This just keeps you in the game.
This just clears the board. Yeah. So they're two separate like things, but it is true. Like there's potential here that I think a lot of people aren't really seeing. They're not, they don't have the imagination to really see what you could really do with this in a deck that just waits and waits and waits and then kills you with some big Gazrilla or something like that. Yeah. I think that's what you're gonna see. So Dreadscale at the end of its turn deals damage that the buff your Gazrilla again and stuff like that. There's a lot of cool stuff that you can do
slowly.
Yeah, there's a lot of cool stuff that I think people I'm gonna go out and I'm gonna say there's gonna be a really, really cool hunter deck that's not just face hunter or mid range now, and that I'm excited about. So
yeah,
they're very, very cool cards.
Really hoping for the same thing. Let's talk about Mage. I want to talk about both polymorph boar. Sorry,
I keep saying bear when I read it too.
Polymorph bear is coming, right?
Yeah,
that's the natural progression.
Bear with time. Yeah.
Sheep, boar, bear. That is the Hearthstone Mage totem pole. Let's talk about polymorph boar first. It is a rare mage spell. It costs 3 mana and it reads: transform a minion into a 4/2 boar with charge.
Mages get Huffer.
They do.
It's a Huffer every time. The problem is you have to have something on board that you turn into Huffer. You can't just play Huffer from an
Can't just
board.
have Huffer.
I am so surprised by how much I like this card, though.
It's awesome because it's utility, right? So you can aggro mage and use it to do, you can deal damage with a creature and then deal 4 more damage with the same creature on the same turn. Because you turn into a 4/2 board with charge.
Yeah.
Or then you can also kill opposing creatures with it. If it's like Ragnaros and you turn it into a 4/2 board, then you can kill it with one of your creatures. That's awesome.
Yeah. Or even if you can't kill it, a 4/2 boar is better than a Ragnaros.
Sure.
Staring down the barrel of a Huffer is better than staring down the barrel of the Fire Lord.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But I feel okay. Go ahead.
If you say cast this on a leper gnome, is that death rattle going to go off? Because you're not technically killing it, you're transforming it.
No, it's just like if you hexed it.
So like the same as if you currently if you
polymorphed it.
Well, if you polymorph it, but if you recombobulate a leper gnome, it doesn't death rattle.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. No,
I think that would be so. Like anytime you transform something, like you remember, death rattles wouldn't go off with Tinkmaster Overspark, right?
Right.
So. Transform and destroy, 2 different things. I mean, I feel like you could see this in play with aggro mage. I think there's going to be an aggro mage that uses this. That's going to essentially play like Flame Wakers plus mirror images, and then turn one of my mirror images into a boar, and then hit you, and stuff like that, and then also do 2 more damage with my Flame Waker and all that kind of stuff. And then you're also going to see mages use this as a more, essentially a more usable polymorph, because you've got utility both directions, right? So even like a control mage might say, I would run this over polymorph because I can decide what I want to do with it. So I don't really know what that deck looks like yet, but I think there's a bunch of options. And I'm always going to pick this in Arena, I think.
Yeah.
Almost always.
Yeah, completely.
It's a very, very cool spell. I love having options. We never want to turn your own minion into a 1/1 sheep, but you definitely want to turn it into a 4/2 boar, and you may just want to do it to your opponent's minions as well. This is why Tankmaster Overspark used to be good.
Yeah. Because a 5/5 was better than a lot of stuff. You know what I mean? So when you could target it. But there's one other thing too I want to mention. I think this actually might make mid-range mage or tempo mage take out the water elemental and put back in Violet Teachers, because turning one of the little Violet Teacher tokens into a 4/2 boar is going to be much better than even a 3/6 that freezes.
And so if your Violet Teacher is still,
it would give you another 1/1.
Yeah, another 1/1.
Yeah, it's a spell as well. But I mean, I don't think you could. You can't cast it on a 1/1 that's not there yet. So that's a little tricky in itself. But you play this on turn 4, and then on turn 5, you cast some other spell, and then you create a 1/1, and then you turn it into a 4/2 and get another 1/1 at the same time. It's gonna be some cool stuff.
Yeah. Let's talk about Ronin, the mage's legendary minion. He's 8 mana, he's a 7/7, and he has a death rattle that reads, add 3 copies of arcane missiles to your hand.
I think this card, this card's really, really interesting. When it was first released, it was shown up against the Warrior one, which I think we're talking about later.
We are. And
they showed them at the same time, so it got overshadowed.
It did.
Side by side, it makes Ronin look like crap. But
at the same time, the 3 copies of Arcane Missiles is actually 1 more damage than Avenging Wrath, and I freaking love Avenging Wrath.
for half the mana, too.
For half the mana, exactly.
Yep.
So
and you can cast it separately. Like you can cast it whenever you want, not all at the same time. Yeah.
Exactly. And once you factor in, there seem to be a lot of cards that kind of buff spell power in general. I think we're going to see maybe a spell power mage that then runs Ronin, that then has arcane missiles that just do a ridiculous amount of damage. I think it's going to be really, really interesting. I like Ronin. I like this card. I think that there's a new type of mage that we're going to see coming out of this.
The only downside I see, and I feel like a little rain is required for this parade that is happening right now for Ronin, is it's a death rattle. If he's silenced or transformed, you're not guaranteed to get value out of this guy.
He's a 7/7, which generally those get BGH'd. So then you can arcane missiles to get rid of.
But I can read, so why would I BGH him and give you arcane missiles on purpose before silencing him, or just transform him into a frog?
I think you're going to see a lot of owls and stuff. So I think there will be plays where he gets silenced, then BGH'd, and you don't get the arcane missiles, and you paid 8 mana, and that sucks.
But then you're still they're using 2 cards. They're using 2 really powerful cards with your owl for your silence and your BGH to take care of 1 card. So I don't know. I still think that kind of trades pretty well.
If that happens, you did lose tempo because they used essentially.
Yeah. You don't even. You can do it
5 mana to deal with your 8 mana.
You can do it with essentially 1 card and a swing of something. You use it polymorph. You could use what we just talked about, polymorph boar. You could use hex.
Yeah.
You could. There's other ways you can deal with Ronin and not have to use an owl to silence him.
But what I think though is that the decks that this goes in have a lot of other silence targets anyway. So I don't know if it's going to be, you're talking this is giving you power into the late game. It's drawing you 3 cards first of all, which is just awesome, and then drawing you 3 specific cards that you can build a deck around being able to utilize really well.
Yeah.
So having Flame Wakers in your deck and stuff like that,
and Antonidas. Turning those arcane missiles into fireballs.
Exactly. Yeah. So not only are you drawing 3 arcane missiles, then you're later drawing 3 fireballs at the same time. Yeah. It's, you're talking about a very, very powerful card that it did get overshadowed when it got released because the other card that was shown with it was so insane to everybody.
Yeah.
But people slept on this just a little bit. I think I'm looking at this and I'm thinking like this is like Dr. Boom power. This is really, really good.
I mean, I was playing devil's advocate. I mean, I
Sure.
felt like those points had to bring up. I like Ronan. I like Ronan a lot. But yeah, I mean, there are cases where he will just get turned into a frog and you will be sad. But
yeah, but everything can.
That's already been the case.
Turned into a frog and you're sad. So
exactly. We still play Ragnaros. So
exactly.
Although you're still guaranteed.
I guess
to
the
get
problem is that if you want to look at one problem, it doesn't have immediate impact on the board, and that's a lot of people play big legendaries that do something the moment they're played, not just when they die, right?
Yep.
And like Sylvanas is cheaper. That's one that doesn't necessarily, but it also answers a lot of boards. But it's cheaper. It's 6 mana. It's not 8 mana. If you're committing 8 mana to this, and then it gets dealt with, and you don't actually get the death rattle, you're going to be sad for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's talk about Paladin because I really love Paladin, guys. That's because.
Although you don't play it that much these days.
Actually, I've been playing a bit of aggro Paladin.
Okay.
Which I like. I don't love. It's been a growing process with me.
Are you playing the deck that runs King Mukla?
No, because I don't have King Mukla.
Okay.
I crafted him to run that deck.
He's amazing in that deck. He's
good, but it totally works without him. You do not need to spend 1,600
it's true.
dust.
Yeah, I mean, you get arcane golems in there instead, and it's just fine. But
yeah,
but Mukla does something very specific in that deck, which is the divine favor buff.
Yeah, yeah.
So.
Mid-range Paladin is still really good. It's not personally performing all that great for me, and that's why I'm not on the usual Paladin high horse that I'm running around.
It's actually still a fine deck, though. It's played a lot in tournaments and stuff. But.
It is, and you look at any kind of power ranks or rankings anywhere, it is still performing well. I just personally haven't been having a particularly great time with it. I'm doing much better with Aggro Paladin, Mid-range Hunter, and today I've been checking.
I think Aggro Paladin's like top tier deck right now, and mid-range is like just below. So
yeah. And I've also been just today started playing your Zoolock deck because I've been away from Zoo for a very long time.
That deck, that's the deck that got me from 18 to 9 in like a sitting, like a really short sitting.
Damn.
I didn't realize how powerful Demon Zoo was right now, but it is insane.
That is not the experience I had today, but I did end up going up 5 stars. So I still had a good run, and I think I only played 6 games. So
yeah. Well, we'll have to I want to watch you play some games or something and talk through some turns. I'm still not sure I'm playing it actually correct.
I'd appreciate that because like I said, I have been off the Zoo train for a while now. So
yeah.
Anyway, let's talk about some of the new Paladin cards and not the old boring stuff that we're currently playing. Let's talk about Enter the Colosseum first. It's an epic Paladin spell. It costs 6 mana and it reads destroy all minions except each player's highest attack minion. So cool. I think this is such a cool card.
It's okay. So there's a couple questions I have about this card.
Fire away.
If you have 2 1/1s on your side of the board, what happens? You just pick one?
All but one are killed, and the one that lives is selected randomly. This was confirmed by Worthen in a tweet today.
Okay. All right. I mean, I just, because Paladins pop out a lot of 1/1s, right? So I was thinking, you're going to have a lot of tie situations. And so they're saying that it's random. It selects by random.
If there is a tie, the survivor is selected randomly among the highest attack minions.
But you know that the one that lived probably had a bigger dick, right? Sorry. Go ahead.
Oh my god. Everyone, when you start playing Enter the Colosseum, I want you to log your results of any tie and see if there's a correlation, and then we can finally see the most well-endowed minions.
This is my theory
of Azeroth.
This is my
wow.
Dills, I heard some rumblings that you were enjoying some flaming Dr. Booms before the show.
No, I can't.
And I'm just going to say.
It has nothing to do with it.
Now I can tell.
Wow.
Oh, geez. I'm going to hopefully.
I mean, I could tweet at Worthen and I could ask him particularly, but
serious question, dude.
That's Oh, you're killing me, dude. I'm trying to get my serious face back on and I can't do it. No, you're absolutely gonna have ties, and that's gonna happen. But it doesn't matter if you have like 4/1/1s and then one minion with 2 attack. The 2 just lives, and the ties between the 1/1s are a non-issue. They die because there was one minion with a higher attack than them. The only time it becomes an issue,
essentially like a brawl for paladin, right? I mean,
yeah, more or less. But
it leaves 1 for each.
Yeah, you have more player agency over it. Like you have a little more control. You have a pretty damn good idea of what the minion that is going to survive is going to be, and if you don't have a tie situation, you know for a fact which minion is going to stay alive for both of you.
Yeah, which is that's really nice.
If you have Sylvanas too, and she's not your highest attack minion, and then you play this, you know you're going to steal whatever your opponent's is. So
that's pretty cool.
Good.
Yeah,
yeah,
very
really
cool.
Could be really
Although
really
that's
cool.
a really tough situation though as well, because this costs 6 mana, so you're gonna have to play Sylvanas and already have something with higher than 5 attack on the board, and then be able to play this on like the next turn.
Oh no,
it's gonna be tough to do.
know.
But
I don't think
Son with
the
coin.
kind of-
Oh wait, that doesn't work.
It's not the kind of combo I think that you try to pull off like actually on curve. It's something like if you happen to have later on, so powerful.
Okay, there's another thing about this too, and that's a card like Humility or Follows the Rules, where you can specifically make an opponent's card have less attack than another card. So
True.
They could have like a leper gnome or something, and then they could have Dr. Boom. You could make Dr. Boom have 1 attack, and then you know that the leper gnome's going to live, right? So
Yeah, unless any of the boom bots are still on board, then the boom bots would live. One of them.
well, no, I was saying with the leper gnome. So but
But you said Dr. Boom, and I'm like, well, next scenario, it's likely that we would have at least 1 boom bot on board, Dills, and then Dills just goes
but
shut
the
up.
leper
Gary."
gnome has 2 attack.
But
So
the
he-
leper gnome has 2, yeah.
Oh, you're right. You're right. I'm sorry.
I'm giving like a weird example that probably would never happen. but I'm saying like if you needed,
You don't
to
always
finagle
play
which
leper
one.
gnomes with your boom? Come on.
Yeah.
That's
If
like
you
the
needed
combo.
to massage the situation to make it, you have options in Paladin with cards like Humility.
Your choice of words
It's
after your
epic
earlier
tonight.
joke is
What?
you're ruffling.
That's an actual like figure of speech.
You're-
Massage the situation.
It's just choosing to use that word
Yeah.
after your previous
Right after your joke.
your previous
Gotta
joke.
massage the situation.
I could
See
have
which
said
one.
stroke the situation, but I didn't. Okay,
I don't know why you would stroke that situation.
because
Unless
that's not a saying.
that's my point. Anyway, any other thoughts on Enter the Coliseum? Do we think it's actually going to be good?
Maybe control paladin, maybe, but that's going to be like a really greedy paladin, I think.
Yeah, it's interesting because what? Quality's 2 and Consecration is 4, so that combination is already 6 mana. Granted, it's 2 cards compared to 1, but you're guaranteed not to lose any of your minions and guaranteed to kill all of theirs unless they have Divine Shield.
Yeah.
So
in some situations, it's actually going to be better than a quality consecrate, but in a lot, it won't be. So
yeah. All right. Well, so we're kind of undecided on this. I think it has a place. I'm just not sure what that place is. And I think it's a super cool card. But let's talk about Mysterious Challenger instead. It's an epic paladin minion as well. Well, a minion, not a spell. It's 6 mana. It's a 6/6. And it has a battle cry that reads, put 1 of each secret from your deck into the battlefield. Secret Paladins
cool.
coming for you.
So cool, this
I
card.
love this.
You could play a 6/6 and 5 secrets at the exact same time.
And one could be eye for an eye.
Well, one will probably have to be eye for an eye.
Dills, do you really want to put that many secrets in your Paladin deck to hope for that to happen?
Well, no, but that's what this deck, that is what this deck will be. You don't play this unless that's your deck.
It's like
Because if you play this,
Mad
you're going to need to
Scientist
get
on
5 mana.
steroids. And
But
it's
you-
a battle cry, so you can't even silence it.
Yeah. It's
Yeah, but-
playing 5 secret. Was it 6 secrets you could get? How many secrets can you get at the same time? What's the max? There's a max
I think
number.
you can. There's a max you can play 5.
Is it 5?
I think
Okay.
it's 5. Yeah.
All right.
I'm trying to
Well-
think how...
Definitely can't have 6 secrets at once.
Okay.
Okay.
So it's 5.
I thought it was 5, but I could be wrong. I don't know. But I mean, you're
I can't ever
filling
think
your
of a
deck.
time when I've had 5 secrets up at once, but
I can't think of a deck that I've played where that would even be possible.
yeah.
But,
Totally
I mean, the
buffing
thing is-
Flare, by the way.
Yeah, it still won't be played because this won't be played.
No.
honestly.
Well,
No.
yeah.
It's a super cool card, and But like, you know why?
Can you imagine if it was like neutral and you could play it in Mage? Oh my god.
All right, so secrets in Paladin, you've got Repentance, Redemption, Noble Sack, Eye for an Eye, Competitive Spirit. So there's only 5 secrets. Oh, Avenge. There's 6 secrets.
Avenge.
Okay.
I was gonna say I thought there was 6. Yeah.
So Paladin, you'd probably not play like. Well, okay, sorry, Jocelyn. You'd probably not play Eye for an Eye. And play
I
all the
know.
others.
Remove probably from that sentence.
Yes.
You would not play Eye for an Eye.
Yeah, but here's the thing. I know this card is terrible. I know. I get it. I understand. But it's still super fun and cool, and I love that they're putting a card like this in. Because it's gonna be the funnest thing ever when you chuck this down, and then all of a sudden it's just like, and you just have
I hope they don't.
everywhere,
I hope they
right?
don't all show up at once. I hope literally like each one rotates into space one after the other, so it's just like ding, 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 ding.
Yeah.
Great.
Chat room, and it's already gone, but I have to say this. When Mage pulls it from Unstable Portal, oh my god.
Yeah, that's gonna be gross.
Oh, that'll be
Although
so...
mages aren't gonna be running, but if they play even 2 secrets, it's still
Yeah,
enough.
Exactly. Then, the value.
That'd
And
be
it's
pretty
Someone
coming
said
out of
there's
Unstable
7
Portal, so it's already 3 cheaper. So it would be a 3 mana, 6/6, and secrets everywhere. Oh, the dream. I have a new dream, people.
Yeah.
Someone said there's 7 secrets. There's not. There's only 6. The new one is Competitive Spirit. We counted that. Avenge, Competitive Spirit, Eye for an Eye, Redemption, Noble Sack, Repentance. 6. It's only 6, guys. Only 6.
So
Just play 'em
Mysterious
all for
Challenger
free.
in TLDR, terrible card, super fun.
Yeah.
Yes.
Terrible card, super fun. Still 6/6 for 6 too. I mean,
Yeah.
some people are going to play this, and people are going to play like weird. I've seen Secret Paladin already,
Yeah.
even though there's no real support for it to be a good
There's
deck.
just so many other things I'd rather do with my 6 mana.
Well, no, absolutely. But I will play this when it stills to whatevs times. I will play Secret Paladin for sure.
Alrighty. Well, let's
Just
talk
have fun.
about Eadric the Pure. I've never known if I've been pronouncing that guy's name correctly or not.
Eadric the Pure, I think. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All I know is that he had the best line of dialogue ever when you kicked his ass in the 5-man.
I yield! I submit! Excellent work! May I run away now?
I loved. He was one of my fondest memories from Wrath of the Lich King because he was so overacted into the ground. I loved it.
I actually just went in and did this dungeon like Saturday or Sunday, I guess. I was like doing more tournament stuff, getting super hyped for grand tournament in Hearthstone, and so I finally went in and did this, and I was like, oh, cool.
So you also got to hear him say, "Hammer of the Righteous."
Well, I killed him pretty quick, so he didn't say much other than that ending line.
He's just so cheesy. I love it. But let's talk about what he is in Hearthstone. He's a legendary paladin minion. He costs 7 mana. He has 3 attack, 7 health, and a battle cry that reads, "Change all enemy minions' attack to 1." So he's making everyone follow the rules.
Super follows the rules, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think he's good though.
Well, he's what? Well, 4 more mana.
He's way too expensive.
Yeah, with 4 more health. Yeah, I think he's too expensive.
If he was like a 4/6, I think he'd be decent.
Yeah,
but
if
you
you-
have to
it's-
play this against a big board full of stuff
Yeah.
for this to actually be that cool,
And not an aggro board, because most of the aggro stuff has
yeah, because
low
they don't
health
even have high
anyway.
attack anyway.
Yeah.
You're talking,
Exactly,
at turn
exactly.
7, you have either stabilized
yeah.
or lost already. Like,
Yeah, and
against
even
the-
if you play this against like a board of patrons, right? like I think of a deck right now that currently does like flood the board full of stuff.
actually, patron would be really cool if somehow they had actually filled their board already with patrons and you haven't died.
I guess that's a
That'd be a cool
that's
scenario.
that's again a very specific
yeah,
situation that doesn't happen very
Yes.
often. But yeah,
And I was going to say, yeah, maybe to deal with frothings, but if they've got big frothings out, you're already dead.
Yeah. So this would be really good against Zoo, though. Like Zoo, I think this would be great against because there's a lot of situations where, Zoo's got a whole bunch of stuff. Some of it has 4 and 5 attack because they've been buffing it with defenders and all kinds of stuff. People are saying like, oh, good against control. Not really. I mean, control doesn't really have that many minions on the board at one time.
Mhm.
So You have to
Especially
hit.
if everyone's playing control. It's going to be like 1 minion versus 1 minion all the time.
Okay, so handlock I think is maybe the deck where like this would actually be really good. Like a handlock that gets like the double moltens out and then taunts them up or whatever, and threatens a whole bunch of damage.
And then you just purify everything.
But then is that enough to make this card playable because it's really good against like a specific matchup? Probably not. You're still paying 7 mana for it.
Maybe in tournament play.
It's possible that if the
handlock
if the meta
is really
switches,
popular in tournament play. So
Yeah,
Yeah,
there might be a specific case where you use this as a meta pick in a tournament for sure.
I basically just I wanted to talk about this just so I could say this is 2 expansions in a row where Paladin get really crappy legendaries. So thanks Blizzard, thanks.
Though, like we got a couple of really amazing legendaries, but most classes got so-so legendaries. That's just kind of how it works.
yeah.
Oh, I know. It's just change it up.
Paladin has
Paladin
Tyrion.
has Tyrion.
Do we really need another
Yes.
amazing legendary?
Yes,
for
we
that?
do.
No,
I would like.
that's too much.
I would like to be excited when I open a legendary, sir. I would like to be excited,
Yeah.
and not just for 400 dust.
All right.
Anyways, that was really
So
my
if every class had amazing legendaries, it would just be insane. Like the game would be
Yeah.
ridiculous.
Oh, I know.
Yeah.
I can still just I can ignore all of that and just complain. That's what I'm gonna do.
Sure. Oh yeah, let's do it.
So, but let's just move on to Priest and talk about their class legendary because it's super interesting. Confessor Paletris, a legendary priest minion, costs 7 mana, 5 attack, 4 health, and reads Inspire. Summon a random legendary minion.
This card is amazing. This card's super cool.
We're going to see so much Emperor Thorson.
Oh yeah.
In a world where we're already seeing so much of Emperor Thorson, we're going to see so much more of Emperor Thorson. People are going to be faceless manipulating their own Thorsons because of how insane some of these cards are, but they're high mana. This is such a neat card.
It's an awesome card. I don't know. Like I think again, similar to Avian, I think this is priced just about right? Because you probably going to have to wait till turn 9 in most cases to actually utilize this card before it dies.
We have one of the cards we're going to talk about later.
Yes,
the fencing coach. Yeah,
really enables this card. Yeah,
it really, really does. So you don't necessarily have to think about it because for so long we were kind of saying, well, yeah, you have to figure out when you're going to use that hero power, how you're going to weave that in, adding that mana cost to the cost of the minion. But with the fencing coach, like it just kind of opens it all up.
Fencing coach on turn 6, and then you Paletris on turn 7, and you get two legendary minions at the same time, and you're gonna have to pick which one you deal with. It's probably gonna have to be Paletris, but it's an awesome card. I love this card.
Yeah,
I feel like this is the kind of card that could make Priest you talk about like a tempo Priest. You will put this in there because you're gonna play like a bunch of tempo cards. Then by turn 7 or turn 9, you got like this awesome swing turn, right, where you play Confessor Paletris and then hero power and heal something and then kill something else. Whatever it is, it's going to be a big swing turn, and they can kind of just like ramp up to that turn by playing a lot of quality minions early on in the game. This card is fun too. And
then you pull Peggle, and then you cry a little inside.
Yeah, well, but like, okay, what's the? Oh my god, why am I blanking? The card with the legendary inside of it. The
Sneed's Old Shredder.
Sneed's Old Shredder. Yeah. So it's kind of like Sneed's Old Shredder with the ability to, like, if it lives one turn, then it's Sneed's super old crazy Shredder. Yeah. Like, it just continues to build momentum if it can live one turn.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Priest is pretty slow anyway, so it's not like Priests are always getting to turn 7, 10, 14.
Priests are already
18.
greedy as hell. Exactly.
Yeah. So I think this fits really, really well with the class. I love this. I think we're going to see a lot more Priest play, which is good because we haven't for a really long time.
Well, you notice too some of the early stuff we have now. The 1 mana card with if you have a dragon, it gets buffed. Now there's a 2 mana card if you have a dragon, it gets buffed. So we'll see kind of like some sort of really greedy dragon Priest deck that will also use this to just go nuts in the late game.
Yeah.
And then they'll just randomly get a legendary dragon, and it will fit your entire theme.
Exactly.
You'll be so excited.
Sweet. When you play this on turn 9 and you end up with a 5/4 Paletris and a Ysera, The
Or
other
a
guy will just
Deathwing.
concede. Yeah.
Free Deathwing.
Yeah.
Anything but a Hemet, a Pagel, or a
Yeah.
Thanos.
Yeah.
Sometimes it'll be something.
Play
completely
Stream is
terrible.
saying 10% chance of something horrible. So
But that's
90%
fine.
chance of awesome.
That's a
That's
really
acceptable.
I
Yeah.
like those odds. In a game where RNG exists, those are some fantastic odds. Sign me up.
Yeah.
By the way, are those the actual odds? Do we know if that's what's 100% accurate? I'm not
I
sure.
didn't know.
I
I
have
don't
no
know.
idea.
I don't believe
Just
that's
some
the
dude
case.
said that in the chat.
Yeah.
We don't know.
There's definitely more legendaries that would be good to get than there are legendaries that would be bad to get. But
Yeah.
I think around 5 to 6 mana cost is your average mana cost for most legendaries at this point. You know what I mean? So, and a lot of them are like 9, 8, 10.
Yep.
So,
Yeah.
when you
And
get
even
that,
some of
it's insane.
the lower ones aren't terrible. Like, I mean, you get your hero power anyway, which you would have been spending 2 mana, or like we mentioned, the free hero power. So you're gonna get your heal off anyway, and especially if you've already buffed your hero power with the other minion that gives you the new and improved hero power, you're gonna get your 4 mana or your 4 health heal. And on top of that, you could potentially get like Thalanos. Not terrible.
Yeah, I'll take it.
I wouldn't be that excited about getting Thalnos from this.
No, it's not the most exciting thing, but it's also, even though it's a low mana cost, it's not terrible. It's not Pagel or
Yeah.
Pagel or Tinkmaster or.
Yeah. Let's talk about Rogue now. I think we're all in agreement that Peltris is super freaking cool and actually
Yeah.
hope and probably going to be good and see play. We weren't, Dills, you were like, if we don't talk about Beneath the Grounds, I quit the show.
Not quite to that level, but I think this card is the coolest rogue card that we've seen so far.
Yeah, so it's an epic rogue spell. It costs 3 mana, and it reads shuffle 3 ambushes into your opponent's deck. When drawn, you summon a 4/4 Nerubian. So,
Super cool.
ambush, for those of you losing your minds, don't worry. You haven't seen this card before. That's because it didn't exist until just now. It functions essentially like the mine from the, Iron Juggernaut?
Yeah. It's the exact same thing as the Burrowing Mine, which it gets drawn, it does something, and then it goes away, and then you draw the next card. So what it does is it summons your Nerubian. That's all it really does. So
Yeah, there's no image of the actual card anywhere to be found right now, but once again, CM Worthen to the rescue did tweet out clarifying that the actual card basically reads, summon a 4/4 Nerubian for your opponent, draw a card. That's what ambush does.
So it's not a card they like get in their hand and then can play.
Right.
It goes right by, and then the Nerubian comes out, and then they draw their next card. So it doesn't hurt Mill Rogue because it doesn't add 3 cards that then like they can draw later. When they draw it, it just skips to the next card. So this is essentially a Mill Rogue card. Like, they've now given us another Mill Rogue tool. So Mill or control late game type of rogue is going to really do good with this card. If you think about it, and you actually can reliably get all 3 of these ambushes drawn, it's 12/12 for 3.
Yeah. Now then,
That's
in that
pretty insane.
scenario, that would have to be a mill deck.
You got to play a mill deck with this.
If you want to see all 3 Nerubians, potentially 6 Nerubians if you play both of these.
Oh man.
Yeah. But it's
good.
another tool for Mill. So Mill Rogue is, I think, now essentially a much more viable deck, and that's awesome. We need more stuff, more archetypes. I want to log in, and I want to not know what the hell I'm going to play against, and it's just the Wild West out there. So
I think it's going to be like that for a while after this
It is.
releases.
It
Like,
really
there's
is.
so many different ways to play pretty much every class. It's just going to
Yeah.
be crazy.
Now, again, another thing too is if you have a fairly late gamey type of arena deck, you might actually grab this, because if you think the game's going to go long, this is going to give you a ton of value.
Yeah.
Going into the late game, like a lot of arena games come down to top decking and stuff. So I think it'll be interesting in there too. It's not going to be good for every deck, but for some decks it'll be amazing.
Yeah.
Actually, Merritt's in the chat room asks a really good question. I don't know if we know the answer or not. What happens if you have Chromagus on the field and you draw ambush? Would your opponent get...
Well, ambush doesn't,
like-
or sorry, Chromagus doesn't make the card do so. I would assume you
'Cause
get
I guess it
one, and
never
then
really-
Nerubian would draw,
It
and
never
then
really
put the other one in
goes
your
into
hand.
your hand, right?
Yeah.
It's impossible for this card to go into your hand. It is
Yeah,
cast
so
the
I guess
second
if
it
it-
is drawn.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it would just be the normal. You would get the 1 ambush and then 2 of the next card.
If Iron Juggernaut was actually played, we'd already know the answer to this because we would actually see Burrow Mine go off against with a Chromagus on board. But I've never seen that
You
happen.
have to test that. That's
Right.
Yeah.
Wow, science.
Science. I
do the
would think
science
probably
on this.
just 1, but yeah, we need to science this.
Yep.
Yeah,
We must
I have
science.
no clue actually.
We must science beneath the grounds.
I'm guessing that the second ambush ends up in your hand as like a 0-cost card that you could decide to play and summon them a Nerubian if you wanted to. Like that's how I think it might work, but I don't know.
I have no idea.
Which would be super awkward.
Yeah.
Wow.
I don't know.
If we were like
I
on network
think that you
TV,
could-
this
'cause,
would be
yeah,
so
it does
embarrassing.
say. Well, no, it says when you draw a card, add 2 copies to your hand. So technically, ambush
Well,
is
no,
a card.
you draw the card and then you add the copy, right? So
Yeah.
like if there's like something like a mana
But that's
cost
like I'm
reduction
saying,
effect or
Chromagus
something,
is
it doesn't affect the
activated
second
by the
copy.
draw. Yeah.
Yeah, but it doesn't affect the copy. The copy
Yeah.
is not drawn. So this card, when it's drawn, does the thing. The second copy is just like, here's a copy. It's not drawn.
Yeah.
It's created out of the ether.
So yeah, you're probably right. It's probably something that you would cast if you were.
Yeah.
Crazy.
You just have it in your hand then.
Yeah.
That'd be awesome. We gotta science this. We have no.
Yeah.
We'll come back to you guys later.
Great question.
Next
Great
week we
question.
will report on the beneath the ground, or in this case, it'll be the Iron Juggernaut with Burrow Mine going off and a Chromagus being on board. We will report back on that.
Yeah. So it might do nothing. Yeah, I don't know. That's weird.
Yep.
That's weird.
Yeah.
So beneath the grounds, really cool card. Probably going to see play. We all agree. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In some
I think
kind
so.
of bizarre
No.
rogue deck that we're not currently seeing.
It'll make the Mill Rogue deck that like kind of went in and out of flavor, like back in and out of flavor.
I
It might go away
played one
again, but-
last week. I
Yeah?
played a Mill Rogue last week. I
Yeah.
didn't win.
I played one too. I
but
beat it.
I saw one last week.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's talk about some Shaman cards. We've actually already talked about quite a few Shaman cards because a lot of them were released in the first wave of reveals where Dills and I kind of powered through quite a few of them. But here are some new ones. And just like every other Shaman card we have looked at, they seem amazing. So let's start with Healing Wave. It's basically a Joust spell. It's a rare Shaman spell. It costs 3 mana, and it reads, Restore 7 health. Reveal a minion in each deck. If yours costs more, restore 14 health instead.
Which is
Good
just
card.
crazy.
I mean, 7
But
health for
this is
3 is
the-
fine. 14
Yeah.
health for 3 is ridiculous.
Which is kind of how a lot of the Joust cards work, right? Like
Right.
they're just basic card stats are okay, but then when you get the like if you win the Joust, it's just ridiculous.
Yeah, they're below average or broken. Yeah.
Normally,
exactly.
I am so incredibly unexcited about spells that only heal you because generally they're boring and generally you're just losing slower. However, damn shamans need healing so bad, and this is so dirt cheap and heals you for so much. Even if you don't get the Joust effect, that this card
Yeah,
is
it's fine
great.
without. And if you do get it, the thing is that people have to play around it, right? Like people will be like, "Oh, I can get the shaman down to like 7, but what if he healing waves? Like, should I do that?" It's going
Yeah.
to change how people play against shamans
Exactly.
for sure. And
Yeah.
that in itself is fine. Whether
All
you play it or
signs-
not, it's a card you have to play around. So.
All signs are pointing to people are going to be murdering everything on a shaman's board with reckless abandon because of all of the totem buffing ridiculousness that we've seen so far, and now because of this, bringing you down to 7 might not matter because they could healing wave. It seems like more and more the safe bet is going to be going for board control against the shaman.
Yeah.
And this is I think the only spell that's a Joust, right? There's a weapon that's a Joust and there's a whole bunch of Joust minions, but this is the only spell. Yes, no.
I think you're correct. I don't. I
Yeah.
can't think.
I
of
believe
another
you
one.
are as well.
Yeah,
I
so
mean,
that's why I thought this was so cool because we'd pretty much just seen Joust minions, and then I was like, oh, wait a minute, a spell with Joust? What?
Yeah, and I mean, a lot of the Joust cards, I'm not sure I would play them if I wasn't really sure I was going to get that Joust effect. But this one, I'd be fine. If I just get 7 health, cool. I got 7 health and I only spent 3 mana doing it.
Yeah. And then like we were talking about when I think we originally talked about this card that there's a lot of low cost removal in Shaman already, so you can definitely play a deck that has no low cost minions and can still control the board in the early game.
Yeah.
Which makes this very powerful.
I almost wish it had just like an overload 1, if for no other reason I wanted to buff my elemental. That is it. But other than that, I really like Healing Wave.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the Mistcaller, the legendary Shaman minion. It costs 6 mana. It looks like a dude. It has a beard. He costs 6 mana. He has 4 attack, 4 health, and he has a battle cry that reads, give all minions in your hand and deck +1/+1. Yet again.
Yeah.
It's interesting. I really like this card. I don't know how much it's going to get played, but I think the idea is really, really cool.
So it's only buffing minions, so you're going to have a fairly minion-heavy deck. And you're also going to have to feel like you can reliably draw through most of your deck and play most of your deck. But it's incredibly slow. I feel like, you know, it's kind of like it's kind of like Sword of Justice that just lasts for the rest of the game, right? But Sword of Justice doesn't get much play. So,
but Sword of Justice only goes off 4 times?
5 times. It's a 1/5.
5 times. Yeah.
So that's, you know, and that's usually enough. That's plenty. If this goes, you know, this goes off 5 times, you still kind of paid too much for it. It's going to have to go off like 7, 8 times. And at that point, I don't know. You could probably already build a deck that's going to win in the late game without this.
But if you're building, like, because you could put this into, like, kind of a jousty Shaman deck. Like, if you have mostly just removal spells early, then you get Mistcaller out, and all of a sudden, all of your big, anyway, late game minions have more attack and more health. Like,
yeah, you suddenly win when if you do get that situation. You suddenly, like, everything is just out of range. It's kind of like the old school, like, Blood Imp, right? Like, where, like, everything got screwy.
Everything
and you
had
could never
health,
kill anything. And, so that could happen, and that will happen. But I think people are going to kind of, like, if it doesn't get drawn and it sits in your deck and it's, like, the bottom 5 cards of your deck, it really sucks.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. The
cool.
whole game seems to be slowing down. So I don't necessarily want to write this card off just because it's slow. But you're right. Like, the later you draw it, the later you play it, the worse it is, obviously. Which a lot of the other legendaries, that's not really the case. Like, Thorison's probably the best example of this, that, you know, like, the later you draw him, the worse he is, right?
Not necessarily, though. Like, if you draw Thorison in a patron deck, it sucks that you drew him super late, but he can still enable your massive combo.
Yeah, a lot of times Thorison depends
He
on
affects your hand, you know what I mean?
Yeah, Thorison is fine depending on what's in your hand.
Yeah.
Like, if you watch that Trump versus Show match, you know, he didn't get Thorison until the very end, but then he killed Trump from 49 health because he drew that Thorison, you know? Whereas this card, like, if you draw it towards the last part of your deck, it's not going to do anything for you.
Yeah. I'm excited to mess around with Mistcaller. It's a really exciting card. It seems like a super cool effect or a super powerful effect without thinking about how late he comes into play. And because he's 6 mana, you're not going to get Thorison out before him to actually get him out earlier.
Yeah.
But on the same token, you know, when you think about 6 drops in Shaman, there's really only 4 other slots I can think of off the top of my head that it's competing with it, which is 2 fire elementals, possibly a Sylvanas, possibly a Thorison. So I think there's room there for you to play around with your 6 drops.
No, it's true. Like, there's not a ton of 6 drops that already go there, so it'll be fine.
Yeah.
But like, you know, people are saying, like, oh, this is why you killed. No, this is not why you killed totems. This has nothing to do with totems. Like, it's everything to do with what's in your hand and the minions in your hand. So Feral Spirit does not get affected. You know, that's a spell. It's only the minions.
Yeah.
But you could make a really kind of sticky, interesting, bloodlusty deck or something like that, where everything gets a little bit stickier, and that could be kind of interesting. There's options. There's options.
This was a while ago now. One of our listeners, I cannot for the life of me remember his name, and I am so sorry, but he sent me a deck list for his Overload Shaman probably 2 months ago, and I've had a lot of success with it. I don't play it on ladder a lot because I'm just not as in tune with the elements anymore.
The elephants don't guide you anymore.
Yeah. But it gets my Shaman daily done every single time with no issue, and the games go crazy long because it has a lot of control elements. So I could see this working in a long game plan Shaman deck.
So that deck is like a value deck. The deck is where you just try to get more out of each card than the other guy, for sure.
Right, and this guy would do that. He would give everything you play, every minion you play after turn 6, even more stats. So
yeah,
I'm color me curious and excited because it's just such a damn cool card.
We're making a deck with this. All of us are making a deck with this.
I might not. I'm not saying I'm spending 1,600 dust the second I can to craft him, but if I just happen to crack him, I'm gonna keep him for a while.
Yeah.
Well, I'm gonna have all of them like immediately because I'm crafting. That's how I am.
You're just
so
going
I
to,
will make a deck with
You're
this
just
very
going to spend all the monies.
Well, I have 5,000 gold, and I already bought the 50 packs, so I'm gonna have a lot of packs very quickly.
Damn.
I'm probably gonna open like 90 to 100 packs like day one.
I've banked almost 4,000 dust. So,
that's pretty good.
Yeah,
that's pretty good.
Yeah.
I have about 2,000 or so.
Yeah, I think I have around 2,000 dust, and I have just over 2,000 gold, I think. So
it's pretty good.
Yeah.
I mean, the thing, like, what are you saving your gold and dust for at this point, right? Just let's go.
Yeah. I still don't have King Muckla, but that's because I just really don't care that much.
Yeah,
because you need Mistcaller.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't have more.
Muckla dust for Mistcaller.
I'm so excited for Shamans, guys. I cannot tell you how excited I am for Shamans. I think this is okay to say. I was in a game of Heroes the other night with Ben Brode, and he just goes, "So, how excited are you?" I'm just like, if it was just the Shaman cards, I'd be losing my freaking mind, okay? So, the fact that there are other things besides the Shaman cards, there you go. I don't even know why I was concerned. I don't know why anyone would get in trouble for playing a game with me. But anyways, let's talk about Warlock card, Fist of Draxus. The rare Warlock spell. It costs 4 mana, and it reads, when you play or discard this... I'm going to reiterate for emphasis. When you play or discard this, deal 4 damage to a random enemy. This card by itself, not super excited about.
No, this card's bad.
The first half of that, though, I think we all agree that this card is pretty meh, or it's just straight up bad. But before the first comma, or before the only comma, when you play or discard this, the fact that this exists, that this is a thing, and we might see more of this in the future, excites me.
Yeah, I think it's really exciting, the whole new mechanic thing, seeing new card text. That's always really cool, because then now we kind of get a view of what Blizzard is actually playing with and toying around with, and kind of just... But really, this card, really...
We need more discard mechanics. We don't have enough yet. Like, we just don't have enough.
Oh, we have
Doomguard, we have Succubus. We have there's one other new card.
Soulfire and Doomguard. Warlocks play plenty of cards that cause...
But most of those aren't even played anymore. Like, that's the problem.
Well,
like,
yeah, because
Doomguard is the
Voidcaller.
only one you play.
Yeah, and Voidcaller, you're trying to pull them out and not get those effects, so it kind of works against a really powerful Warlock minion.
My point saying, though, is, like, Soulfire has gone in and out, and if there were more cards like this that were actually good...
good when discarded, yeah.
Yes.
That's what I'm saying, though. There's not enough of them yet. Like,
I don't think there's enough of these. There's not enough of these cards. I think there's already enough of cards that cause a Warlock to discard their cards.
Okay, but the problem here is that you have to discard this card, not just a card.
Yeah.
You gotta discard this card.
It's got to be like the last thing in your hand.
That's hard to do, man.
Yeah.
You're like, okay, Soulfire, and I have 5 cards in hand. So 25% of the time, I'm going to also do 4 extra damage to random minions. Like, what? Well, random enemies. I guess I could hit face with it. But that's just such a weird...
I was talking more broadly about if we had more cards like this that activate
you can make a discard
when they're discarded. Because if you took Voidcallers out of your Zoolock and you put Soulfire back in, all of a sudden you have 4 cards that cause discards, 2 of which discard 2 cards. And I don't know about you, but I constantly get into scenarios where a Doomguard is sitting in my hand with only 1 or 2 other cards, and I'm just like, crap, I can't play this, and this would be the perfect card to play.
But then there's like 2 ways to go with a deck like that, which is zoo it up, where you have tons of like low cost cards where you can just dump your hand, where Doomguard's effect doesn't actually isn't a drawback, right? Or you could load it up with cards like this, where right now you only have like really this one. So again, remember how they added some, like they said they added some cards in the last set that weren't really going to get good until this set. This could be that, where we're seeing this card and we're like, this card sucks. But then next set, we're going to have like some amazing discard stuff in Warlock. And that's where we're going to go, oh, remember Fist of Jiraxis? You know, that I think is where this card's kind of going right now. We don't have the tools to really do this yet. And, you know, and like the cards that do this, like if you play Succubus on turn 2 and you discard this, you might actually not hit anything that matters with it, right? So, yeah, I said doo-doo. I get it.
Thank you. I'm glad you caught it. Thank you.
But yeah, there you go.
Yeah. No, I just think it's interesting that we're getting a card that activates when it is discarded. That excites me. I want to see more of these. Bring it on, Team 5.
And I think you're right on the money that like this is a very, very interesting new thing, and I think that's what's going to happen. We're going to see it again in the next set.
Let's talk about some warrior cards. First up, let's talk about Sparring Partner first. Then we'll get to the one everyone wants us to talk about. Sparring Partner is a rare warrior minion. He costs 2 mana. He's got 3 attack, 2 health. He's a 3/2 for 2, and he has taunt. He also has a battle cry. Give a minion taunt.
Yeah, this is the one I wanted to talk about. That other one is like everyone sees why that card's good.
Yeah.
So this card, I don't think everyone sees why this card's so good.
Dills, are you excited about a card with taunt? This might be a TAC first.
This is a 3/2 for 2, so it's just fine on its own, right? But the fact that you can give opposing minions taunt or your own minions taunt means this has a lot of really, really cool just synergy with a lot of things that are already in the game. Or like warrior, I think a taunt warrior is going to be amazing with this because, you know, everyone was saying like, oh, these taunt cards, this bolster card sucks because you play taunts and they suck, right? But we've got taunt givers in the game already. So if I can play already quality minions that already did something and then I give them taunt and then I bolster them, that's pretty good. And if I can like give an opposing minion taunt and then Black Knight it and kill it, that's awesome. Or if I can give a Thaurissan taunt that's hiding behind a Sludge Belcher and then kill it with my weapon, that's awesome. Like this, the fact that I can give an opposing minion taunt and not buff its health at the same time, because there are some cards that already kind of do this, but you have to buff their health while you're at it. While you're at it.
Well, also
this allows you to just give them taunt and say, now I can attack you. You know,
it's like the Rusty Horn. It's like the spare part. Yeah.
Yeah, Rusty Horn is like, you know, you get that sometimes. You're like, oh, the worst one, and then you go, oh, wait a minute, they're hiding a really quality minion behind some stuff. So there's just a lot of really, really cool stuff you could do with this card, and I think you're going to see an awesome taunt warrior that has just so much control to it. And Black Knight will be in there, and you'll be able to kill anything you want for 8 mana with this, like awesome, and leave a 4/5 behind and a 3/2.
Or if you get it early, you can force people to hit your Acolyte of Pain.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, give your Acolyte of Pain taunt. The problem though is that this also has taunt, so but giving something taunt that's hiding behind something else, like let's say they put an Acolyte behind an unstable ghoul, and you have a Fiery War Axe. And then you go, oh, well, suck it. Acolyte has taunt now. I attack Acolyte. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's
and
cool.
that puts you ahead in that mirror matchup.
Exactly. So there's awesome stuff you can do with this, and I'm excited for this card. And I'm excited for this Taunt Warrior deck. I think it's amazing.
I mean, this is something I think we all talked about in the very early days of the Angry Chicken. Is like, why isn't like a protection warrior kind of a thing? Like, when you think of a tank in World of Warcraft, that's exactly what you're thinking. You're thinking about sword and board, and they're taking all the hits for everyone else. Mm-hmm. I'm so excited, man. Also, play a tank, so I might be a little biased here, but this is cool.
A protection warrior is awesome in World of Warcraft, and now we can get to play it in Hearthstone. So,
now I want protection paladin. Let's get this going. Come on, guys.
We have heal paladin kind of,
But that's different, man. That's holy. That's a whole different spec.
Tyrion, Sludge Belcher.
Protection paladin would just basically get to keep the consecrate card in play every turn.
Sure. Well, that's okay. That's what protection paladin. It's the old Kalento paladin. Remember that, the super taunt heavy paladin?
Oh yeah, you're right. Like that was one of the first like control type paladins I ever played.
That could be back actually with some new options here.
There's the control player in me is I party at my place, guys, when TGT releases. Okay.
There's a lot of I think almost all decks are going to have viable control options now, even Hunter. That's
God,
cool.
I hope so. Oh, I can't. I really hope that happens with Hunter. That'd be so neat. Let's talk about Varian Rin. It was inevitable. We have gotten here, folks. He is the legendary warrior minion. He also just happens to be a king, but that's unnecessary information at this point. Also, this is gonna be so funny watching him come out of Garrosh. It's gonna be so funny. He costs 10 mana. He's a 7/7, and he has a battle cry that reads: draw 3 cards, put any minions you drew directly into the battlefield.
Really
Damn,
cool.
dude.
Yeah.
That's worth 10 mana right there,
Yeah.
for sure. The only other cards currently that cost 10 mana are Deathwing and Sea Giant. And Sea Giant is not a 10 drop, doesn't get played for 10 mana. This is amazing.
Yes.
This is an amazing card.
Yep. I'm so happy.
Can
Like
you even
said,
say anything?
You
Like,
just listed
it's amazing.
the other.
Move on.
You just listed the other 10 mana legendaries, and it's just like this is the only one that I'm just like, yes, absolutely playing this card.
This one would actually get played. Yeah, so even if you don't draw any minions, you still played a 7/7 and drew 3 cards.
Right. And
That's good.
yeah.
But sometimes one of those cards will be like Ragnaros, and you'll play it for free.
And you'll get free rag, yeah.
Yeah, and you won't play like a bunch of minions with battle cries because you don't get the battle cries. So, but the warrior doesn't really need a bunch of minions with battle cries. Like even if you draw, like let's think of so Alex Straza. Like you're not going to be upset if you drew Alex Straza because it's still a free 8/8. So you're going to tune a deck to kind of take advantage of what this card does, and it's just going to be good. It's a bomb. This is a bomb. We talk about bombs on the show. This is a bomb.
Yeah, if we were still doing grades, guys, would we just give this like S and a bunch of stars because it's too good for even an A ranking?
Yeah, this is like you're going to college now because you got you can't be in high school anymore. Like, get out of here.
Yeah, Varian Rin is a cut above the rest. Watch somehow this everything's gonna release and Varian Rin is just gonna suck and see no play.
So
I'm trying to think of a scenario where that's actually true. No.
Okay, so one thing I was thinking about is Warrior's really good right now, like both versions of it.
Yep.
Did they really need this? What?
Yes.
What happened when I saw this card? I was like, so the rich get richer. Like this is this. Warrior is so good right now, all versions of it, and yeah.
Yep.
Although they suck in arena, this ain't gonna do nothing for that. So, oh well.
Yeah. Yeah. So.
Still amazing,
Yep.
And I think we should probably just end on this card because this card
Yeah, I
is
think we should.
sick.
I really want to talk
And
about
we'll
fencing
talk
coach.
later.
I really want.
Okay, fencing coach.
Can we talk about?
That's the only one that really matters.
We can just say, sorry guys, it's another week where we just really don't have time for emails.
Too much to talk about.
There's too much
I
to talk
thought we
about.
really cut it down enough this time.
Yeah.
We tried really hard.
Yeah.
But
Well, you know what we did
we
is
like talking about cards.
we cut it down so that we could have conversations about these cards, and then when we had conversations, and
That's true.
that happened. But we're going to show a couple neutrals right now. Let's just we're not going in any particular order. Let's talk about fencing coach first because we already mentioned fencing coach in this episode. It's a rare neutral minion. It costs 3 mana. It has 2 attack, 2 health, and a battle cry that reads: the next time you use your hero power, it costs 2 less. I don't know why they didn't just say it's free, but whatever the case.
Maybe in the future we might have cards that modify your hero power that make it like 3 mana or something.
I mean, yeah. Might as well be specific now, right? So
Yeah,
That's a
exactly.
good point.
Cost 2 less, and then whatever we can work out. If you said free, and then there's a card that gave you some sick ass hero power for 5 mana, that would be kind of great. So
Yeah.
But what this does is it enables these Inspire decks that we were really curious about. Like, how do you actually fit these Inspire effects into your mana curve and still play an effective tempo game or something like that? That was, to me, before this card was revealed, was really confusing. And I kept looking at these Inspire cards and thinking, well, these are awesome if I have 2 extra mana every turn. But you don't. But this card makes it so you do. And it's, it's slightly weak body for its mana cost, but that's fine.
Yeah.
I'm okay with giving up. You can think of this as a 2/2 for 1 that kind of delays its mana cost. It discounts on a later turn, right? something like that.
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, it depends. I mean, it depends on how you play. You could draw it later, and you could play this and then play an Inspire Minion, and still, I mean, although you're kind of defeating the purpose,
Yeah.
because you're paying 3 mana to get a discount of 2. But yeah, no, I think you're going to see these things come out the turn before you're ready to do something with your. You're going to see that you have, I don't know, if you had a 4 mana Inspire Minion, you would probably play this on turn 3. But if you're a priest, you're going to probably wait. I should have the slide loaded up. You're going to wait till you have Confessor Paletrace in your hand, and you're going to play this before you drop her. And your opponent is going to get the deepest sense of foreboding they have ever experienced in the history of this game. It's going to be
People in
wonderful.
chat are going crazy because of Saboteur.
I know.
We're talking about this card like all by itself, not with Saboteur. So yes,
Yes.
we realize. But thank you guys.
Yes. So Fencing Coach, very exciting with Inspire in the game.
Yes.
Wouldn't be that exciting if Inspire didn't exist. Although still,
No, it wouldn't really do much if this Inspire wasn't a thing.
Right.
It would just be like a way to enable
yeah.
an extra ping. And
Now
it wouldn't
let's very quickly touch on Fencing Coach's direct counter, the Saboteur.
There you go.
It's another rare neutral minion. It also costs 3 mana. It has 4 attack and 3 health compared to the Fencing Coach's 2 and 2. And the Saboteur's battle cry reads, your opponent's hero power costs 5 more next turn.
So this is the Lotheb to the Inspire decks, essentially.
Yeah, which is
exactly
really cool.
If you're putting an Inspire mechanic into the game, you have to put some sort of way to counter it, and here we go. So
Yep.
good on them. It's a rare, and you can play 2 of them though. So Lotheb was Lotheb is a little different because spells are incredibly powerful, and to be able to make them cost more would just disable so many decks if you could do it twice in a game.
Yeah.
This I think will be just fine. Although it's gonna all you have to do though is just wait a turn and not use your hero power, right? And then it just goes away. So it's fine.
Yeah, it's not permanent. It's just for
Right.
the one turn.
It's not your
And-
next hero power.
And Fencing
it's the
Coach's
next turn.
discount is it's like
It's-
it's like the
That's
Paladin.
yeah.
It's like the Paladin Dragon.
Yes.
It doesn't need to be your next turn. It's whenever the next time you use your hero power is. So you can wait a turn. Now, granted, a lot of times, like I said, you'll probably use Fencing Coach the turn before you wanted to play an Inspire minion on curve and get the benefit, and that will throw a wrench into your plans. And that might be just what you needed if you played Saboteur to survive the game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But time will tell. Do you think it has a bit of a Kazan Mystic
Completely.
handle on it? Do you think we're
it's
going
a
to be?
medical.
Yeah.
It's going to depend on how popular Inspire decks end up
I'm not
being.
sure how much we're going to be running 2 of these. It's definitely not an auto include. We're going to have to see how Inspire decks shake out to be playing
Although-
Saboteur.
Because on Mystic is a 4/3 for 4. This is a 4/3 for 3, which his stats are kind of okay regardless.
No,
So-
you're absolutely right.
So
Not
the
as big of a
Mystic
drawback.
has a permanent effect. Like the Mystic steals the secret, end of story. It's not like it steals the
Sure.
secret for a turn. So
Yeah,
it
yeah,
has
it
to
gives
be
it
a little
back.
more expensive. Yeah.
Yeah, no. So I mean, its effect is a little bit weaker, so its body
Yeah.
is stronger. Makes total sense.
Yeah, absolutely. Might as well. We're at the end of the show.
Sure, might
real,
as well.
real
We're here.
quick. Sideshow Spell Leader is another neutral minion we wanted to talk about. It's epic. It costs 6 mana, has 6 attack, 5 health, and a battle cry that reads, copy your opponent's hero power.
Milkshake deck.
yeah.
So everyone was like, "Dills, this card is all you." And yeah, this card goes in the milkshake deck for sure.
So cool. Also epic,
cool
so
card.
of course it's crazy.
Yeah, it's a weird, cool card. So the problem I see with it is it won't get C play because you build the deck around one of the other 8 hero
Yeah, you
powers
have
being maybe
no
good for
idea
you.
what you're gonna
it's
get.
just
Yeah.
there's no way. But if you play a milkshake deck, the heal doesn't really do that much for you. So I would totally be fine with grabbing whatever the hell else the other guy's hero power is. And of course, that's the whole point of the milkshake deck anyway, is play with your stuff. So that's what it goes in. It's awesome. I know. I get it. It's happening. guys.
Are you sure? Are you sure you understand what this means for you,
Yes.
Dills?
Yes, I do. It's an auto include in every milkshake deck.
And it could be really cool in any kind of like brawl where maybe you get to build your deck, but then your heroes are something like Rag or Nefarian. Or it could,
Nope. Stop you right there. Already
What?
confirmed you can't take you can't take boss level hero powers.
Aw, lame.
I know. I
Lame.
said the same thing when I found that out. Yeah.
This
Well,
should,
never mind.
This should
Yeah.
be reworded then. Once again, card text really ruffling my chicken feathers, guys.
know.
If
I
it's
know.
copying your opponent's hero power, it should be copying whatever it currently is.
Whatever that
does that
happens
mean?
to be.
Does
My
that
next point was going to be adventures. That
Yeah.
would be so super cool, but never mind.
But I think I think the reason is that then they lose a lot of design abilities
Yeah.
with making insane hero
Oh, I
power.
get it. I get it. But I don't have to like it.
They should make it more fun then. Like if you go in,
They could have made it a legendary and had it have like
Yeah.
awful stats, and then it's only to counter, and you can only play one, and whatever. They could have done that.
Yeah. All right, let's end things with Evil Heckler. It's a common neutral minion. It costs 4 mana. It has 5 attack, 4 health, and taunt. Take it
Okay.
away, Dills.
Yeah. So the reason this card means anything, because when you look at this card, you go, yeah, okay, whatever. The reason that this card is being brought up is because people talked about Dr. Boom and the power creep over War Golem. So like same mana cost, 7/7 plus 2 boom bots. This is Evil Heckler, common neutral minion, 4 mana, 5/4 with taunt. There's literally a Booty Bay bodyguard that's 5 mana, 5/4 with taunt. So
And a common neutral minion.
common neutral minion.
I
So
mean,
rip Booty Bay bodyguard, you are gone. Not like anybody played that anyway, and I don't think anyone's gonna play this. But that's weird, and it's the only card that you can literally look at and go, "This is power creep
Yeah.
right here."
I mean,
honestly.
in War Golem,
But the only thing is that your Booty Bay bodyguard, everybody gets that when they start playing. This is an expert card.
Okay,
'cause
there
it's
you go. That's
common.
yeah.
So you can kind of say like,
So you earn this. You
You
earn
earn
that
it,
1
yeah.
mana
You-
discount.
yeah, I mean, like,
Sure.
kind of, yeah.
Yeah,
That's
we're-
pretty
I
much
mean,
the
That's
only
a valid
argument
point.
for this.
That's a very valid point.
Yeah.
Booty Bay bodyguard is not only like a common, but it's also like just a straight up basic.
Yeah, it's a
card.
basic
So-
card. Yeah.
So
In
but it's
arena,
still
they're
weird.
exactly the same, but
And it's something to note, and I think this will get picked in arena because it's fine in arena. You'll play this, like there's already the 5/4 beast that gets picked sometimes, so people will pick this. But that's of note. That is of note. Here's the power creep example.
since it is a common and Booty Bay Bodyguard, while a base set card is still technically a common rarity because that's what all those cards equal out to be, I cannot wait for the first replay of someone streaming an arena draft session, Booty Bay Bodyguard going up against the Heckler and then accidentally taking Booty Bay Bodyguard.
Well, you know,
I
I mean, if
I
you play
await.
Evil Heckler turn 4 and then Booty Bay Bodyguard turn 5, it's not bad.
It's not great.
No, it's pretty bad.
It's pretty bad. It's
Pretty bad.
pretty damn bad. Folks, I can't wait for you to take a look at the show notes and see that we were so naive as to write down a section called personal picks if we have time, which my recording is just now hitting 2 hours. So we
Although, actually, I think all of mine were already in there, right? So we can get rid of all these. Yeah.
still funny nonetheless. So that will do it for this week's episode of
We out.
The Angry Chicken. We hope you enjoyed your time with us. We hope you excuse Dill's wiener joke. And if you don't, it's totally
No,
fine.
you know what? Screw that. No, don't excuse me. Don't excuse me. You hear that wiener joke and you enjoy it.
Yeah.
I did that for you guys.
I hope you excuse the fact that Jocelyn and I then chose to really call attention to it and continue making jokes about it after the fact, and we tried to act
Listen,
really
I'm
shocked.
we just
Sorry if anybody's
massaged the
offended.
situation. That's
Oh,
all.
Sorry
jeez.
if I. Sorry.
We like to have fun here. It's fine. It's fine. It's totally fine. But yeah. Thanks again to our epic patrons who are supporting the show and helping it happen. You can become a TAC patron by going over to patreon.com/TAC. You'll get access to the Skype account for the call-in episodes and all kinds of other awesome stuff. So go check it out. Thanks to everyone leaving us reviews in the iTunes store. If you have not done that already, if you like the show, if you're an iTunes listener, drop us a review. It helps us a lot. The Angry Chicken is a production of amove.tv and frogpants.com. Get all of our past live shows and other videos over at youtube.com/amovetv. Check out our t-shirt over on /loot.com. It's the Angry Chicken. It's got a chicken on there and our show name. It's pretty cool. You should go check it out. Follow us on Twitter at TAC Podcast. Catch us live every Monday night right here on twitch.tv/amovetv at 10 p.m. Eastern. I have been talking a lot. We're
I was
also
gonna say, Garrett totally forgot where we were, guys.
Yep.
Right here, here places.
Here, places, wherever here is, that's where we are. The mobile live stream is also provided by alphageekradio.com, and I just wanted to remind everyone there is 2 days left on Alpha Geek Radio's Indiegogo. This is so Todd, who is an amazing man who does so much to help us and everyone else who broadcasts through Alpha Geek Radio just be better and have more outlets to where our show can be received and watched and all kinds of awesome things. So go check it out. There's a direct link right over on alphageekradio.com to his Indiegogo. So go support Todd if you can. He does some really awesome work. Also check out BrianGriffithMusic.com. He made our awesome intro music. And Dills, where can you be found?
You can find me on Fridays on the Instance, the World of Warcraft podcast. Well, it's actually essentially a Blizzard podcast at this point, so check that out if you'd like to talk about any Blizzard game, because we talk about all of them at this point. And you can also check me out on my stream, Willie Dills SF, on Twitch, and I stream Mondays, Thursdays, and then generally sometime on the weekends and whenever it happens. So check that out. Once I move, and I actually am out of San Francisco, by the way, a lot of people seem to think I'm already out of San Francisco. No. Still in San Francisco for at least a few more months. Once I'm actually out of here, you'll see a lot more of that stream. So go ahead and follow it now and be ready for that day to come.
Sweet. Jocelyn, where can folks find you?
Right here on A-Move TV every Wednesday night for the Gamers In. You can also find me over on Twitter at GISGamer and follow me on Twitch at the same name tag thing. Yeah, I'm tired.
We all are, except Dills, because time. I hate time.
Yeah.
I really
I'm
do.
incredibly tired.
Well, then you just have no excuse because it's like 3 hours earlier.
I mean,
there.
it's like it's 9 o'clock. I'm an old man. I gotta go to bed.
Old man Dills
Yeah.
wants to talk about his milkshake to the youngins.
Oh, we need an Old Man Dills segment. Oh,
Old man
that would
Dills?
be amazing.
Oh, boy.
That'd be so good. Back in my day, the best 5/4 for taunts you could get cost 5 mana.
Oh, God.
Love it.
In my day, 16-bit graphics were king. Yeah. Fine.
There you go, guys. There is your Dills soundbite.
You could
That's
go
it.
so
Like
fast in Sonic that the screen couldn't keep up with you, yes. Folks can find me on Twitter at Garrett Art. I'm also over at nomoonart.com. That is my graphic design portfolio. Check it out. But go check out Into the Nexus. It's a Heroes of the Storm podcast. It's me. It's my buddy Kyle Ferguson. We've been podcasting together for far too long at this point. And we really like Heroes, so go check it out. Also, check out doghousesystems.com, where you can use the code TAC to get a 120 gigabyte solid-state drive added onto your already amazing Doghouse Systems gaming PC. I installed a new SSD this weekend, and I was very proud of myself, because I had never done that before.
Well
So you
done.
plugged things in, and then you reformatted things, and then you added in like security stuff and permissions and all that.
Yep. Looked around
stuff,
violently for my Windows serial number that I couldn't find anywhere, and eventually found it stuck inside the panel of my computer.
Yeah, there's a fun day that's gonna come when like a program doesn't work, and you're like, "What the hell?" And then you don't just have like the weird driver that was already installed before, and
That's
now
already
you need to go
happened.
find it.
That has already happened at least 7 times between
right.
4 p.m.
Wow.
yesterday and now. So
Yeah.
I also woke up this morning and realized I don't have any Adobe anything on my computer, so I had to install that all
Lord.
before I could
That
do
sucks.
any work. That was fun. I don't know how I forgot about that. Probably because I was too excited to play games off of an SSD. So that'll
Which
do it.
is nice. They open right away. It's cool.
Holy
Good stuff.
crap. So anyways, guys, thanks for tuning in. We will see you all next week for episode 99 of The Angry Chicken. Get those emails in. TAC100, folks. TACpodcast@gmail.com. But until then, job's done.
Job's done.
Job's done.
Yes!
I yield! I submit! Excellent work! May I run away now?